out the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California has won the big game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
How's everybody doing this morning? There we go. Big weekend, wouldn't you say? We'll go over everything that's happened, what it means, what's been going around, and everything else. Is a lot of the things we anticipated happening. More coaches being fired. One major opening that now becomes the best job of all that is currently open down in Gainesville. Billy Napier removed after a win. Rampant rumors about Shane Beamer. We'll get into that. Remember where you heard all this first? Weeks ago? But hey, it is what it is. Hit us up on the McClellan Chiropractic chat room. It's already buzzy even before the show. I like that. And on the professional door text line, 540-391-0788. It is brisk. It was a wintry feeling day yesterday. Heavy wind, cold rain, nasty. Man, we're getting down to the nasty weather soon. The leaves are falling off the tree. It's terrible. It's terrible. Let's just say it the way it is. Winter sucks. If anybody tries to tell you,
oh, but the cold weather is really nice, and I can't wait for the snow and ice.
When your electric bill is $9,000 because you've had to have the heat on, and then you throw your back out because you have to shovel. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Prometheus. How are you, Morris? Judy, how are you? Steven, good morning. Yeah, how about those Jackets? That's a big, big win. Georgia Tech. Ramblin' Wreck circled the wagons on Saturday. Hey, Opal, good morning. Hope you had a great weekend. 5 from Radford University's Scottish Heritage to O.M. Stull's Hokie Yell, and now to the William Flagler Sandpits of the Palm Coast. BDST is on the air. Good stuff. Good stuff. Oh, man, where to begin? I mean, there's a lot. So much. We told you to expect more power firings each and every weekend, and we got one yesterday. Billy Napier, relieved of his duties down in Florida. He's going to be a very rich man. The Board of Trustees met in Tallahassee yesterday, emergency meeting. Mike Norvell's not long for the world down in Tallahassee. Florida State goes to Stanford, and it played out exactly the way we had talked about it. They get beat. And the Seminoles are they're fighting. Players were arguing with Mike Norvell. I mean, he's not going to be the head coach. They're trying to figure out he's going to be owed. Here we go. More of these buyouts, the nonsensical crap that is the universities and how they do business. I don't want to ever hear anything else about any of these schools complaining about money ever again. Just shut the hell up. You're going to pay him $58 million to fire him, even more than Penn State's going to pay James Franklin, who, by the way, could not have come across any more self-serving, arrogant, and, hey, it's everybody's fault but me on Saturday during that just hideous planned interview. I wonder, he actually probably thinks that helped him. And all that did was just reiterate what many people already think about him. That was an embarrassing segment. And then you have Nick Saban on there. I guess I was wrong about Saban. I thought maybe he was getting tired of ESPN, but he is fully taking the ESPN black pill, man. He is just – I can't believe they let you go. It's everybody's fault but yours, James. I mean, look at your record. I don't understand how they could make that call like they did. All right? Just shut up. Thank you, Big Al. 600. Yeah, we got to 600. Let's go to 700. Thank you all for that. Morris says in the Palm Coast, it's the answer. Yeah. Hell with cold weather. I'm with you, man. How about we just set up a makeshift like little studio in the Palm Coast, and I'll just move down there and we'll just do the show December through early March. Yeah, I don't know. The Florida State situation is interesting. They're speculating that all in, once they fire Norvell, which could happen today, and then you go out and you get another coach, you're going to be paying like $100 million. Remember, they were the ones trying to get out of the whole grant of rights ACC, and they kept telling us that $300 million was no big deal. So I'm guessing that $100 million won't be any big deal. We'll see what happens down there. Tallahassee is quite the conundrum right now. Right? Quite the conundrum. We have 12 jobs open now. Is that right? Is that what I saw? And then you have the Shane Beamer soap opera. We told you he was in trouble even before the last two games, that there were things starting to brew. And now his seat has gone from warm to scorching hot after just an abysmal performance at home against Oklahoma, who just got embarrassed by Texas the week before in their massive rivalry game. They go on the road, and South Carolina can muster 7 points at home. Have they quit on their season? I wish I could tell you all this was a surprise, but we've only been talking about it for, 2 months since we came back? And I received information about where things are with Shane Beamer. And again, I don't share things. I hear a lot of crap, and I don't share 95% of it because I'm not that guy. I share things that I believe are substantial. By the way, today on the program, Jermaine Farrell's going to join us. Phil Almatian, who spent the weekend in Wisconsin, the Rose Bowl teams are going to be celebrated this weekend, and he was there, sent me these great pictures of he and the team and Barry Alvarez. We'll talk to him about all this. And then Todd Grantham, who is no longer on the coaching staff at Oklahoma State, he's going to join us. We're going to talk about all this stuff. You're going to get some insight that you can only get here with Todd. He lived it. He'll take you through it. And when you see all this going on, you'll have a better feel for everything. He wanted to come on. We're going to have him on. And we're going to have the broadcast crew for Floyd County come on here at 6:45. Floyd County High School, Buffalo's having a great year. So we're going to give you a little bit of local feel there too. So we got a lot going on today, man. It's what we try to do here on the program, which is why I hope that we can raise quickly out of 600 subscribers and on to the next 100 to 700. So my mindset has changed on where we are with the Virginia Tech job. Because I believe the information I had to be true. Now, yesterday afternoon, and this is so typical, and I received so many messages from people showing me, oh, it looks like Shane's staying. Don't you know how this whole thing works by now? Come on. Come on. Shane Beamer put out a statement yesterday, teleconference. He was prompted to do it with all the rumors circulating. You don't think his AD is not getting calls. You don't think all this stuff going on. This has been going on a while now, folks. Nothing is new under the sun. And when you see these kind of statements come out, these are choreographed. They don't mean a damn thing. Here's what Shane said yesterday, responding to the rampant rumors this weekend about Virginia Tech and the fact that he's now the top candidate, which I was told as well on Saturday. I'm just going to tell you right now, I was told by a reliable source that Shane Beamer has known now for weeks he's going to be fired at South Carolina, and he has been maneuvering the committee. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just telling you what has happened. You can believe it. I really don't give a damn. I do. I have a source that knows. But here's what Shane Beamer said yesterday. I have no idea where that story came from. I have conveyed publicly many times how much I want to be here. And I respect the question. I understand you asking it. And I'm not mad. He used conveyed again. I've conveyed many times how much I want to be here. Repeated himself. This is my dream job. I said that when I came here, nothing has changed. I am pissed off at the way we are performing right now, and it's not acceptable. Okay. Who's the head coach? I came here to win a championship, and right now we're not getting it done, and my focus right now is getting it fixed and getting back to last year when we were 2 points away. I had to remind people what happened last year at the college playoff. And I'm working my rear end off to get us back to where we're in that mix and playoff talk. It's not happening. And that's the same thing I told our football team today. I guess the gist of the article was that would be a parachute or something for me to get out of here and have a soft landing spot. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm not happy with where we are right now, and I'm determined to get it fixed. We're in a storm right now that I'm going to get us out of. Of course, he had another meltdown after the game on Saturday. That press conference made its way around, how he handles himself, how he comes across. I mean, have a good time with that if it happens, Hokie Nation. But what he just said, it's interesting the way he worded that, as Virginia Tech would be a parachute landing that he has begun the process of on his own, is what I've been told. But yet, there was the denial yesterday, and I'm guessing it was prompted by his AD, would be my guess, his new AD, who didn't hire him. You all know how this works. It's all marketing. It's all a PR game. None of it is, I don't know why people are immediately coming to the conclusion, and this is on the text line. Let me tell you right now. 2, 3, 4, 6, 8. About 15. It looks like Shane's staying. Oh, Shane's not going anywhere. Okay. I'm going to tell you right now, this is what Virginia Tech needs to do that they're not going to do. If you want Virginia Tech to be relevant from the first day they make this announcement that won't come, all they have to do, if anyone at Virginia Tech is watching, I implore you, all you have to do is look about 2 hours up the interstate, and you go and you say, hey, Bob Chesney, hey, Matt Roan, come fix football and make us relevant again. Immediate success. You're going to overthink this, aren't you? You're going to let people influence because those aren't names, boy. Those aren't big names. Did anybody watch JMU on Saturday? Has anybody watched the team? By the way, Louisville, who upset Miami, was on the ropes on their home field. James Madison gacked it up. What did Chesney do? He changed everything after that. He dropped the 2 quarterbacks, changed a lot of the offense. He changed on the fly. They almost put up 70 points on Old Dominion on Saturday. The same team who got Brent Pry fired officially when they came to Blacksburg and ran the Hokies out of their own damn stadium. All you have to do is go to Harrisonburg, give those 2 guys offers they can't refuse, clean it up, and then get the hell out of their way and let them do their jobs. But you're not going to do that, are you? That's all that you need. Watch James Madison. They are by far the best team. They are by far the best program in this state. James Madison. Did you see how innovative they are on offense? And their defense, which was supposed to be a liability, Old Dominion can score. We saw that. Their quarterback came in here and riddled Tech's defense. That game was 28-27. What was the final? 60-something to 27? And everyone's going to say, well, they're not playing a Power 4 schedule. You don't know how they would do against a Power 4 schedule. That's fair. But we sure as heck saw them against Louisville, the team who went out and beat Miami, who, by the way, Miami'd once again, didn't they? At home, Friday night, Louisville jumped out 14-0. ACC's wide open. Georgia Tech now has planted their flag. They're the best team in the ACC. Virginia looked like crap on Saturday. Almost got beat by Washington State. Had to rally late. This is now Georgia Tech's conference. Who would have thought that, huh? I only wish Georgia Tech would have made a bold move and cleaned out their head coach and their AD on the same day. Oh, wait a minute. They did. Oh, they did. That's right. And then they promoted Brent Key, who, wasn't a big name. He had coached under Nick Saban, interim coach. Would anybody in Blacksburg now, would any supporter of Virginia Tech want to take that same trajectory? Would you take that right now? You would, wouldn't you? But this is going to be overly thought out. You brought in a committee. You're going to have to go get a name. What does that mean? What does it mean? A name you're going to have to attach a larger buyout to. Don't know how much it's going to be. Don't know how much it would take to potentially lure Chesney from JMU. Watch his teams play. Now, this goes the other way, too. I told you that they'd made contact. Well, Ryan Silverfield had made contact and Tech reciprocated the contact. He lost a game to UAB Saturday when they were 22-point favorites to an interim head coach. Actually, Chris Mortensen, the former reporter on ESPN, his son. So that's going to knock him down any list. It's just that's the way it works. All you have to do, you're going to have recruiting ties. Everybody's concerned about recruiting ties in Virginia. Everybody who's supporting Shane Beamer, James Franklin. Oh, they can recruit Virginia. You don't think Chesney knows Virginia? Given the limitations that he has, budget-wise, as opposed to coming to Blacksburg where they just got $200 million? If you want to fix it, and you want to fix it right, and you want to do it quickly, that's the move you need to make. Let's just stop kidding ourselves about what else may work. Who might be out there? Who can Virginia Tech get? You're going to do the same thing you did 4.5 years ago with Kurt Signetti, aren't you? Who was at the same place. Because then Chesney is going to probably coach another year down there, and he's going to go to another power school. You know, like Signetti did. We're going to have the same scenario, aren't we? Those who repeat history and expect a different outcome are the most insane of all. Something along those lines. We have scholars in our chat room. You can give me the exact quote. Did anybody turn on the game? You know, JMU against Old Dominion? Did anybody watch that? You know, that same Old Dominion team that looked like they had better talent across the board than Virginia Tech? Did you see what JMU did to them? Did you watch the second half, the adjustments? It's James Madison. They're not ACC. You're crazy. We've got to get a Power 4 coach. The hottest coach in the country is the latest guy who got fired, and that's who we need to hire in Blacksburg. Let's go get the latest guy who got fired. I just sitting there watching the game Saturday. I was texting with Wayne. I said, are you watching this JMU game? Are you watching this team? And I'm watching them across both lines. I'm going to talk to Phil Macy about all this coming up at 7:30. And I'm going, look at them. Look how well schooled they are. Watch them. They get their plays in and out. They can play up tempo. Everybody knows exactly. You know what it looks like? It looks like kind of a pro team that just goes about their business because they're all very comfortable and so well coached. There's not any guesswork about what's going on. They're right here. They're 2 hours away. But we're going to have to go out and send out a committee because we had to get the AD who's butchered the last 2 hires off of it. Let's create that kind of foggy situation. Not do the Georgia Tech. And I'm telling you, Georgia Tech, you can look at all their wins. That was by far their best win on Saturday. Steve, congratulations if you're in here today. That was one hell of a win for Brent Key. Duke had been playing really well. You go on the road in conference play. It's the toughest thing to do in collegiate sports is to win conference road games. And they went down there and did what they needed to do against Duke. And I'm telling you one thing, if Haynes King is not in the finale of the Heisman Trophy, an award that's a complete joke anyway, I don't know what people are looking at. Diego Pavia riddled LSU. Is that going to be a job that opens? There's a lot of speculation that that's happening this week, that the big money people down in Baton Rouge are going to get Brian Kelly the hell out of there. It hasn't worked. He and his fake Cajun accent. My 2 favorite players in college football put on an absolute clinic this weekend. And I'm just going to say it right now. If I'm an NFL GM, and I don't know if you're thinking about long-term franchise, but if I have a draft pick, let's say I've made a trade in the past and I have an extra 3rd or 4th round pick, or I have a comp pick, I'm sure as hell taking Diego Pavia. That kid is balls to the wall, man. I can't love the way Diego Pavia plays the game and his approach more. I don't need to remind Tech fan about it. It's happened the last 2 years. But what he did to LSU, that guy is an NFL player. I don't know, just to have him around. I mean, you draft character a lot too, especially in the mid to later rounds. Why would you not take a flyer on that kid? Prometheus says, think about how much money this committee will end up costing the Hokies. I'm sure they're getting paid well. Yeah, they're not doing it for nothing. Wayne says, people are always enamored for glory days, except one last name doesn't automatically equal the other. And that's what I don't understand. Is that the only reason? I had people telling me it's a slam dunk. Oh, yeah, getting Shane Beamer is going to fix it all. Why? How? Explain it. Because of the last name? Did you watch his post-game press conference that went viral? Do you watch the way he handles himself after adversity sets in, that he's allowed to set in with a program that was preseason number 13? Have they played one good game? Now they're probably going to end up, I was looking at their schedule, they're probably going to end up 5-7. Because they're going to beat Coastal Carolina, and they'll probably beat Clemson, who lost again without Cade Klubnik. Is Dabo Sweeney going to survive in Clemson? I mean, you're talking potential openings across the country. We haven't seen anything potentially yet. What do you see forget the last name, what do you see out of Shane Beamer, the football coach, that makes all of you who sent me messages believe that he's going to get it done in Blacksburg? Other than the last name. Because he knows special teams? Has anyone else noticed the regression of Lenore Sellers this year, who, was one of those preseason hot candidates on the Heisman Trophy watch list? Have you watched him play the last few games? They put up 7 points at home against an Oklahoma team that looked as putrid and soft as ever the week before against Texas, who was equally soft. I want to thank Family Fencing, sponsor of our studio here in Reiner. They have a no-dig installation system. No holes, no mess, no damage. Locally owned and operated. Finance options are available. Give them a call, 540-200-8294, familyfencingnrv.com. McClellan Chiropractic, thanks to Mark Hundley for the chat room, which is always just absolutely and utterly busy. Travis Williams, Professional Door Incorporated, the text line, 540-391-0788. They've been in business 38 years. He's a second-generation owner of that business, took it over for his dad. Garage doors better than anybody. Across from New River Community College. Give him a call, man. Give him a call. Go see him. And he had a couple people reach out to me. I hope you followed up and called Travis. Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment, they are the presenting sponsor of this program. And I'm very proud to say that as a Pulaski County longtime resident. That's where I grew up. Thanks to Charles Lee, Little Ribbon Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. The Ryan Pride question of the week is going to be simple. Do you want Shane Beamer to be your next football coach in Blacksburg? Hit me up on the text line now. Mr. Pry specializes in trust and estate planning, 701 down in Radford, 701 West Main Street. Thanks to Lara Ramsey, National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of BDST. Harvey's GM in Radford is the only place you should consider going to buy your next vehicle. Brad Harvey and crew, great salespeople, no pressure. They explain everything to you, tell them exactly what you want. He'll go online auction. He'll call you the next day. Oh, I've got some choices for you. That's what he did with me, all 3 cars I've looked for. You don't get that kind of service anywhere. Since 1997, Lawson's Mobile Home Supply has been the place to go for manufactured home parts, windows, plumbing supplies, doors. They also install. Give James Lawson a call, 540-381-8011, 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg. In the NRV Super Bowl, 25 years, man. It's a great time. 382-5525. Boogie Bowling's coming up on my birthday, Halloween. Great, great environment over there. I love the Super Bowl. We got to get Ronnie Horton on. They're pro. That guy's good. Wayne says, hey, about Shane. But Rick, he gets our culture. That's funny. Paul says, I'll take JMU head coach in for 100, Alex. Yes. Yes, you should. Wayne says, hey, but we've already anointed Franklin. He will choose us over Florida and FSU, right? I thought he looked – it was everything that you thought about James Franklin came out during that very choreographed segment with ESPN, you knew they'd be all about it. So ESPN, this is exactly what Kurt Signetti was talking about last week that I mentioned. When Signetti said, hey, all you got to do is watch the networks. And when you watch the networks, you're going to figure out that they're going to promote and build up the ones they're associated with. So ESPN, this is how transparent this is. And this is what you need to look for, because they, like the other access media, and they, of course, are owned by Disney and ABC and all that. They wanted people to know that they were against the Big Ten because they do not have that contract. Fox has that contract, right? And NBC. And so they had James Franklin on, and then they get on there with Nick Saban to talk about, well, I can't believe they let you go, buddy. I mean, that's just ridiculous. What are they thinking there? Look at everything that you did there. What did he do there? Got him to the playoff last year. But Saban apparently is that enthralled in the or entrenched in the ESPN mythos. I was very disappointed that it was him not understanding the business. Of course, Nick Saban knows why he got fired. James Franklin. Ryan Franklin's the receiver for the Broncos. James Franklin blamed everybody but himself. Did you notice that, folks? Did you pay attention to that? Everything was everyone else's fault, but not his. He said, hey, didn't get it done there. I'm going to go win a championship elsewhere, I guess. Okay. Okay, James. Okay, big game, James. Franklin's going to take the Arkansas job, I think. One of those jobs. I believe Florida is going to go after Lane Kiffin. He has not denied it. He's wanted that job for a while now. And then Mississippi will be open. And that's a very attractive job. Keep an eye on all these jobs. They're all going to be, it's going to be a massive snowball effect. The attorney, Ryan Pry, Franklin will wait for USC or LSU. I could see him on the West Coast. Yeah, I could see him at UCLA. Lincoln Riley, they laid an egg in the big Notre Dame game. He's under some heat already. Yeah, I could see that 100%. Seems like a West Coast guy. No, he says, meanwhile, Saban negotiating with Penn State. And did you see his wife said, she was asked directly, well, we don't want to take jobs away. And then Lane Kiffin retorted back, gee, thanks a lot. Thanks for thinking of us all. I like Lane Kiffin. We need more Lane Kiffins. JMU, the M is for machine. Would love to have been a fly on the wall in JM Room's locker room on Saturday. The answer is right there, just like it was 4.5 years ago, folks. Look at what you can do, Mississippi. Anyone see Blindside? Morris, he's been talking about Jimmy Rogers. I did watch some of that game. They look well. They don't have a lot of talent, but they look good. You're right. They had Virginia beat. And he's already won a title, Division II. Yeah, he's a good coach. Again, those are well thought out ideas. I'm not sure that this thing – I'm just afraid Tech's going to get so bogged down with thinking it has to be a name everybody wants. And we know that doesn't mean a whole lot. Brian Kelly at LSU, what's it meant? Mike Norvell, another Memphis guy, by the way. Did you see the bizarre altercation on the sideline with his All-American? It's just it's just crazy what's going on. So Florida is going to swing for the fences here. They're going to have by far the most resources of any program. They have moved far and above ahead of Penn State as the top job available. They are 1 and 2. Arkansas is 3. I don't know how many more SEC jobs may come open. We'll see. But you're going to have more and more folks. Let's see, what do we have now? Let's see. I saw a list. Let me see if I can get the exact list down here of everybody that's looking for a coach already. There's some really good jobs you may have already forgotten about. So here you go. By the way, Colorado State fired their coach Norvell yesterday. Now, that's not a major job, but so Arkansas, Colorado State, Florida, these are all alphabetical order. Kent State, Oklahoma State, Oregon State. Don't forget, they're going to have a new Pac-10 next year. Penn State, Stanford, Virginia Tech, UAB, and UCLA. That is 12 jobs that's already open, and we're just beyond the midway portion of the 2025 season. There are going to be more and more. I would not be surprised. We said this leading up to Saturday, didn't we? It just had that feel all over it that Florida State was going to go out and gack up an 18.5-point favorite line at the farm in Palo Alto, and sure enough, they did. There's no way Mike Norvell is surviving that. It's not happening. I don't know where they're going to come up with the money. That's their problem. Florida State put themselves above everybody else. They climbed over the bodies saying, hey, we're the biggest brand. We're the most watched brand. They are. If we need to buy out of this league, we will. We've got the money. Well, now it's time to put your money where your mouth is because nobody wants Norvell to remain the head coach that is influential in terms of their booster dollars down in Tallahassee. Paul says, can we ask AI? I mean, everybody uses it for everything else like Facebook. If you don't post it, it must not be real. Yeah, for me, there's no doubt it's messy. He says, as long as Witt is there as the AD, coaches are going to pass. They're going to want to know what in the heck's going on. The way Tech's gone about this whole thing is definitely pushed it down the rung, in my opinion. It makes no sense. Morris says, my son and I are going to Tennessee at the Florida game, Tennessee at Florida game. I will ask him to consider Shane. Spurrier helped him get the job at South Carolina. Correct. 100% he did. He was on Spurrier's staff there at South Carolina. This is where the NDA makes Tech's going to stay silent. They don't have to release any statements. They don't have to do anything. This is why I didn't have a problem with a lot of people in media did. We said this last week when they announced last weekend, mum's the word. No more meetings, no more interviews, no nothing. This is where you're going to start to see it pay off because of everything else that's coming out at all these other places. It's absolute chaos. I wrote about this in the Patriot a few weeks ago, and it's coming to fruition, every part of it. Big Dog Barks every Friday at the Patriot. That we could have as many as 15 or 20 big-time jobs that are going to come open, and that's what it's going to end up being. Are there that many quality coaches? A lot of you were making that point on our professional door text line. Are there going to be that many quality coaches to fill these jobs? Probably not. But there's no doubt everything that they have done in Blacksburg is very curious, to say the least. They got off to a great start the Sunday after that Old Dominion game. You know, the team that JMU almost scored 70 against on Saturday night? But I don't hear hardly any Tech fans getting on board for that to happen. But yet they want Shane Beamer. Go watch the Shane Beamer post-game press conference on Saturday, please. Please? Just do it, and then let me know what you think. Go rewatch James Franklin on game day. That's what you want in Blacksburg? Okay. But he's a name. Okay. Indiana is what? Oh, they're number 2 in the country. Indiana, irrelevant in football for 70 years. They hired the JMU coach. Remember? All right. Coming up, Jermaine Farrell at 7 o'clock. Filmation at 7:30. Can't wait to talk about his weekend. He was in Madison, Wisconsin. He was there with Ron Dane. He's hanging out with Barry Alvarez, those great Rose Bowl winning teams. Of course, he was on the staff there, showing me all these great pictures. And then Todd Grantham, who's going to take us through the whole scene. Folks, you're going to get insight coming up at 8 o'clock that you never thought you'd have any kind of opportunity to get, because you're going to get a no BS, honest appraisal from a guy who's lost his job about the industry, about the business, about everything that's going on and why things happen at Oklahoma State. It's going to give you a lot of insight. You don't want to miss it. So I mentioned coming up in the Floyd County Buffalo, my buddy, Tim Cromer. And those two gentlemen right there, Jacob and Caden, are the broadcast crew for Floyd County. As we bring this down to a local, take a breath. I think it's happening in college football. Gentlemen, good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for coming on, fellas. And first of all, go Buffs. Let's talk about you guys on the broadcast. How long? And I think it's great because we need all the local broadcasts we can of our high school program. So let's talk about a little bit of the background you both have and how you got started working with the folks, Lori and everybody in Floyd County.
Yeah, I'll let you start, Cadence. I'll let you start on that one.
Yeah, so actually, for me, it was a different background. I wasn't a football player. I just always have had this love for the sports. And I graduated, and I was able just to get a job with Citizens. I knew some people just from growing up here in Floyd locally. So it was actually me doing it myself my first year, and then Jacob tagged along the year after. We've been doing it ever since. I believe that was 2024 was our first year last season.
Yep. Yeah, so I kind of came on for football. I played all the way through high school and started last year with Caden as kind of the color guy.
Yeah.
So, second year with Caden, we've had a blast. We just had Floyd last year. We're starting to cover some Carroll County sports this year too. A couple of other football home games. Yeah, it's been really fun. We got to cover the Buffalo's playoff run for basketball this year, so that was a fun experience too.
Well, it's great to have that support, Citizens, giving you that outlet. I like the fact you're mixing around. We did that years ago. We're just kind of jumping around. Do you foresee that being the case? Maybe just keep on adding different programs as long as the schools comply, or is Floyd and Carroll, no school is going to be your base going forward?
I think we've had a couple of schools that we've had in mind previously. I know Lori has talked to us about, trying to get Fort Chiswell in the past, or, trying to find schools that we supply the internet service to with Citizens already. So, that's really the whole reason why we got the Carroll this year. So we're just kind of experimenting with it, doing the football home games this year. We'll be doing basketball this season as well.
Nice.
So we'll see how it goes. I think just a lot of planning and, taking opportunity where we see it.
Jacob, you mentioned you did the game solo. Been there, done that. But talk about how much you've enjoyed having Caden, a guy who used to play. It helps so much, doesn't it, to have an analyst who understands that side of the game?
Yeah, I mean, it adds that whole new insight for me when I just see like a play happen in time for me. He looks at a deeper level, the line, what they're doing, every single play, where that may be something I kind of miss. So when he gets to add that insight, it adds levels to my commentary as well, I believe.
Yeah, I also think.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I think, just in general, having I worked with Bryce Altizer for basketball, and I did more of like the play-by-play with Bryce. He's more my color guy, and he helped me understand it. Kind of the same situation that you have with football with me, I had with Bryce for basketball as well. So I thought I would add that. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're not interrupting at all. This is Jacob and Caden. They do the games over for Floyd, Carroll County. Just check them out at Citizens and watch their broadcast. I want to talk about, the lore of Winford Beale. Floyd County, you go through that program. One of my all-time favorite people. We're so fortunate he's still around, and we miss him, but I understand why he needed to retire. Can you talk about what it's like in Floyd to be around that program, to see the reminders of Coach Beale, and now what Coach Cromer, who he tutored under Coach Beale. He wanted to be at Floyd County for a reason. Can you talk about how that lineage and why this season has become not only special in terms of the overall one-loss record, but what it means continuing that kind of family feel in the head coaching lineage?
Yeah, I think I've kind of got to experience both sides of it because my senior year was actually Coach Beale's last year as head coach. So I got to experience the end of the Coach Beale era as a player, and now the Coach Cromer era for Floyd County I helped with the middle school staff this year as well. So, kind of getting to see how things have translated. I think last year for Cromer, it was phenomenal to have a great senior class that he did. It was an easy installation process, or easier than it could have been. And, year two, it's kind of developing something a little bit more of his own. Like last year, there's always a transition year when there was a completely different schematic change between the Coach Beale era and Cromer era. So I don't know if that exactly was the answer you were looking for. But in terms of the culture, I don't think it's really – I think it's just, there's the standard, and they're just, keeping up with it and – possibly exceeding it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Jacob, what it's like? I know you do which one of you guys do the interviews with Coach Cromer each week? Jacob, I'm guessing that's you? Both of you guys?
It kind of depends. I did it when the first time we did it post-game, I was in Patrick County working with WHEO radio. So I just happened to take a camera with me and do a post-game interview. Caden actually did it the week after because I had to fill in for WHEO again when the Patrick County went to Radford. But, it kind of depends. I think I'll probably take care of it this week. But, it's been a little bit of both of us. It's just kind of, who can take care of it. And it's just kind of it depends on the external circumstances also.
Yeah, I was just going to add in there, going back to I guess it really started for us last season for basketball. It was the regional finals for the Buffaloes. We kind of did a joint broadcast with Citizens and WEO. And that was the first time we really did like a post-game interview. So, and I guess, I don't want to say freedom, but the flexibility we have at Citizens to allow us to branch onto our show and start doing post-game interviews along with our commentary. I think that's great because, I think both of us can agree that we love doing that as well. I think it's a good experience for the coaches too, just to being able to talk about the game right after, just to a media outlet like that.
Yeah, and I know Tim very well, worked with him for years when he was at Christiansburg. He's going to give you information. He's not just going to be like, well, here's the coach's line, right? He's going to pretty much tell you how he feels about things, and it makes it so much easier when you're trying to broadcast to get that kind of insight. Why this play call, why this formation, because you're going to go, okay, well, he kind of told us what we expected to see, as opposed to just getting a bunch of short answers, which happens far too often still, right? You want information when you ask questions.
Yeah, Coach Cromer's definitely camera friendly. I will say that.
Are you saying he's a ham? Breaking news here on the program.
No, I'm just, you kind of mentioned it, he'll actually give you an answer. It's not the same old answer, just finding ways to win, blah, blah, blah. whatever, the typical coach answer post game is, he'll go a little bit more in detailed. You can tell he kind of enjoys getting asked about the game of football post game after a win. And it's been a blast working with him post game.
Well, take us through this Floyd County team, what you guys are watching. Unbeaten, playing extremely well. What is it about them? Single out some of the guys that you watch every week, and you're just kind of like, well, this team's got a chance here to make some further noise once we get beyond the regular season.
Yeah, I think it's been a good year. I think Sam Phillips at quarterback for the Buffaloes has been a really, he's taken another step in his game. Last year, there was some struggles in terms of there was a couple of games where he was a little turnover heavy, but he took over as the starting quarterback my senior year, his sophomore year, and he has just taken a step in his game every single year from sophomore to senior year. I think the game Friday, even though we lost, we had to play in a shootout. So that kind of, in terms of his play at quarterback, I think that was the best game he's played as the quarterback for the Buffaloes his entire high school career. And Phillips also has a great presence defensively, but I think offensively, Jack Leroy, Max Harris. I think Jack, he was out the Martinsville game the week prior, and he had a huge impact as a wingback in the receiving game in this loss against Carroll. But and then trying to think of who else defensively. Caden, if you want to throw your 2 cents in.
Real quick, just on offense, I was going to say that I think that the scheme of head coach Tim Cromer does a really well job of making defenses uncomfortable. I mean, I'd say probably 75% of the time you're going to see pre-snap motion. That just disrupts defenses, which allows a lot of space to be able to create plays on the offense. But, yeah, defensively, I think J.P. Dunford does a great job in the secondary. His tall frame and speed allows – I mean, he sticks on wide receivers great. And overall, I think we really haven't touched on it too much since kind of the opening weeks, but there was a really big turnover for this Buffaloes team on both sides of the defensive offensive line, and they've had the whole front step up, and I think that that's been a big part of this 6-1 team so far.
Yeah, the only time that really you could tell the difference in the guys up front from last year to this year was last Friday. Just Carroll running that split T, having big guys up front, and they were able to do what they wanted to do. But I think in terms of the physicality, Floyd definitely stepped up their A game in an effort to stop that Carroll split T.
Jacob Smith and Caden Reinhardt joining us on the program. Of course, they're calling high school football primarily, as they mentioned. What's going on with Floyd County. They're jumping around other places as well. And talk about you guys also have your own show, if I'm not mistaken, right, over there with Citizens. Talk about your radio show so people can kind of hone in on it, know where to find it.
Yeah, so it was an idea I had just over the summer. It was the idea of extending our coverage of what we already do. So it works great for football. Basketball would work great too. We just started it at the beginning of the football season. So, trying to figure out some little things, in terms of how do we – it's basically a post-game show, but it's a weekly recap. We usually come film after football games on Fridays. I think we're going to film this Saturday morning because one of us is going to be coming back from James River this week. But I think usually we'll film Fridays. We'll get it edited, aired over the weekends on our on the Citizens TV channel. Usually for interviews and stuff, I try to get those individually separately for us to put on Facebook. I'll usually put a clip or 2 on YouTube as well, and you can find the Facebook and the social medias and the YouTube Citizens Telephone Cooperative. We just posted on our YouTube channel. But in terms of the full episode, that's usually just for right now. It's just for our customer base that has access to the TV channel through our television service. So hopefully we'll be expanding to where we can, post the entire episode or on YouTube. And yeah, again, just says Citizens Telephone Cooperative to find that on YouTube and Facebook. Just some of the clips that we of briefly recapping some parts of the show.
Well, hang in there, guys. I think it's great. You're getting started at really such an early age on. Just keep plugging away, man. I mean, just keep plugging away, and we'll keep pushing. We'll talk to you guys again. And congratulations on everything you do, and value the importance of what you're doing for people, especially the families and so forth of all the schools. When you're broadcasting high school games, Floyd County in the past hasn't been used to having their games on anywhere, right, or broadcast or talked about. Carol, wherever you're going, a lot of these places really appreciate it more than you ever know. So kudos to you two gentlemen for getting out of school yourselves and picking up this part of your career and helping out these communities. It's great stuff. It's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. We'll spread the word, do the same, and we'll talk to Jacob and Caden again here soon. Thanks, fellas.
All right, thank you.
Hey, we appreciate you so much.
Hey, no problem, man. Thank you. Keep it going. There you go. Good stuff there. That's exciting, man. And that's the kind of thing that Bill Roth gets excited about. That's why he's over at the SMA, to see young people who want to get into broadcasting and to do their thing. That's what warms his heart. And those two guys, you can tell, have the right mentality, the right goals, and that's cool. But we're going to be talking to them a lot more, and we want to thank Lori and everybody over at Citizens. They're going to help promote the program, and it's great. It's great, and that's what we want to do. We're going to be community related, man, and that's what it's all about. We're about to segue into our second hour here. Coming up, Jermaine Farrell scheduled to join us. And then we're going to get into Phil Amatian and Todd Grantham. Don't forget, Family Fencing. They are our studio host here in Reiner. Be sure to go see them and give them a call. Go see Jason Green. They're going to let you know, too, coming up. They don't stop in the wintertime. It doesn't end for those folks. They will definitely be able to work on your fence during the winter. Finance options are available. 540-200-8294. Thanks to the NRV Super Bowl. 25 years in business. Halloween Boogie Bowl is coming your way. 382-5525. James Franklin over at Lawson's Mobile Home Supply. 540-381-8011. That's 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg. Thanks to them for their support. As always, by the way. McClellan Chiropractic. Thanks to Mark Hundley and crew for everything that he does. Go get your back fixed and do it right today. Go get your new garage door or replacement garage door. Professional Door Incorporated up in Dublin. Sponsor of our text line, Travis Williams and Company. 38 years. 38 years in business. And when you've been in business that long, watch out. Go see them. Give them a call. Hang out with them. Thanks to National Bank member FDIC. Thanks to Lara Ramsey, the exclusive banking partner, BDST. I've been there for 35 years. Lara's the best. She's the new president, CEO. She's going to do a remarkable job. What a great choice. Great person. She knows how to manage people and run. She's going to be outstanding. I get to see her at every Radford home game. So happy for her. They went from Brad DiNardo to Lara. What a great lineage of just leadership. Thanks to the attorney Ryan Pry down in Radford, 701 West Main Street. He specializes in trust and estate planning. And the question's going to be simple this week, Ryan, if you don't mind. We did it last week. James Franklin won. Will Shane Beamer win? Do you want Shane Beamer to indeed be the next head coach in Blacksburg? Pretty simple. And those are pretty popular responses. We get about 70 to 80 responses every week. It's amazing. Little River Heating and Air, thanks to Charles Lee, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. And each and every week, we are presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. I'm going to reach out this week, and I'm going to try to get a hold of them, and we're going to, see if we can get them back on, because they are the absolute best. And don't forget, this program is now a proud member of the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce. And I want to thank Steve Bafuto and everybody involved for inviting us in to be part of the Montgomery County Chamber. It means a lot. And we're going to have Steve on, I believe, this week. Chamber of Commerce Day coming up at Lane. That's Saturday, November the 1st. That's the big Louisville game, who looks so good on Friday night. Chamber of Commerce Day at Lane Stadium focuses on that game. Get your tickets, and we'll let Steve tell us more about that. But the Montgomery County Chamber does some great work bringing all the businesses together, and we appreciate what they're doing to help support the program And very proud to be offered that, to just out of the blue like that, to say, hey, would you like to be part of it as your show? And we had a great meeting. And so thank you for everything, Steve, and the Montgomery County Chamber. You're the best. It's great. And we're going to have you on to talk about that. And we're going to be updating you all the time on what's going on with their events and so forth. All right. So thanks to those gentlemen, Caden and Jacob. And speaking of high school football, well, nobody does it better than this gentleman. His name is Jermaine Farrell, the sports director at WFXR. Good morning, Jermaine. How are you?
Well, good morning to you, young man. How are things? I know you're excited about historic comeback by your Broncos, 33 points in the fourth quarter. I mean, I figure you'd be more excited about that. I mean, that's big time. I mean, 19-0. You figure Giants are going to win, and looking at the highlights, but then I mean,
bad
I think
football.
Like 100. I think when a team had an 18-point lead in the fourth quarter or something like that, they were like 162.
1,600. Yeah, I saw that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it
wasn't a scoregami either. I figured 33-32 be a scoregami.
I know. You just thought that would be one. Yeah, I did too. It's funny you say that because I saw that too, thinking, really? Huh, that happened before. Okay. I'm more concerned about how bad the officiating in the league is because they called that rough in the passer. Then that PI that everyone is ripping, Richard Sherman, and some of these former defensive backs, I don't know, that gave the Giants the opportunity to win the game anyway. But yeah, but that's not how you want to win game. That's oof, that was ugly. It was, but anyway.
Well, you'll take it. Hey, it doesn't matter. You never apologize for a win.
No, you win. You're right.
Win.
Speaking of which, let's get into it because Virginia, they shouldn't apologize, but boy, they were on the ropes most of that game, but they found a way. And we talk about this a lot, Jermaine. You watch these high school games.
Right.
Sometimes when you win games like that, it indicates really how strong of a program or team you are, right? And everything, you don't have to go out and win every game by 2 or 3 touchdowns, but when you can find a way to squeeze one out, we'll see how that affects Virginia here in the final third of the season coming up. What do you think?
Well, the thing is, I don't think, again, you can learn more from winning a football game. It's better to teach things after a win than a loss because, they were on the ropes. I mean, they were down 17-7, and then they came back in the fourth quarter and got the win. And they have been doing that. They have found ways to win, and that's the thing. And that's that winning culture that Tony Elliott is instilling. Because, again, you want to learn how to win. And this team, has learned how to win. And for them to be 6-1 at this point, they're bowl eligible. They're fired up and they're excited. And to be quite honest, they brought in the right players. They brought in the pieces. And they're hungry up there in Charlottesville. And they're ready to make things happen. Now, with everything else that's happening in the ACC, I mean, heck, Miami – losing, so right now, I mean, if you look at the ACC, it looks like it's going to come down to between that Duke Virginia game.
Yes,
so big, and if that game doesn't get network attention, I don't know what. I mean, it can't be nothing against ACC network or the CW and all that. That's a game that probably, when it happens, it will probably be a game that you will see on, heck, could be on ABC, could be ESPN. One of those, I think at least one of those two, if everything holds the way it is. But yeah, that could be a game that the winner of that game will probably clinch a spot in the ACC championship game at least. But with Miami, that's a thing. Miami losing is a tough one, and then you can't forget about Georgia Tech either. Georgia Tech is playing so well. So, and I'm sorry, Georgia Tech and Virginia, they don't play each other, so that's one thing.
I know,
but. I mean, the Virginia is just finding a way, and that's all you got to do. I mean, you got to be inspired by that. Finding a way.
Find a way.
That's all you have to do. You have to find a way to win a game. No matter, it's like neither nor hook or crook. Find a way. That's all you got to do. Find a way. That's what coaches and that's not only in sports. That's just in life in general. You got to find a way. You got to make a way and find all that in there. So, it's just such an awesome thing to see what Tony Elliott's doing up there. Now, obviously they'll get things going, but yes, 6-1, and realistic. I know this might be crazy. People could say, well, they might have had a worse record, but then they could easily be 7-0. If
they should be 7. That's exactly. I was going to say that. Yes, they should be.
7-0, but heck, don't apologize for being 6-1.
Well, kudos to Tony Elliott. He did something Brent Pry couldn't do. They're both in their show me year. And here he is. He's got them bowl eligible after 7 games.
Yeah.
They had money. They
want bigger
things.
Yeah, now, obviously, they want bigger things. I mean,
of course.
He said during the press conference last week, he said, okay, we might be in this position, but guess what? We're in this position. And by the way, I'm looking I'm looking at some beauty. My beautiful wife just over there. That's just like a ray of sunshine. Like when you get, you see beauty. That's I mean, every morning I'm so excited to just look at my beautiful wife. I'm just she's over there saying aye, but it's true. Hey, stop bragging if it's the truth, right? So
there you go.
I have outkicked my coverage.
There you go.
Because I mean you got the beauty over there and the beast right here. I mean you can't do that though. Oh, my wife says, but go back and talk about football. She just said.
Well, let's talk about football. Let's talk about what's going on with. We'll let you two have that conversation after you're off the air.
After you're off the
air. So we have Florida open. We have Florida State that might be open here soon. We have LSU, which is gaining momentum this morning. That something's going to happen there. I mean. All of a sudden, Virginia Tech's job, which was like, hey, look, it's so above it might just all of a sudden drop down a little bit more, man. Have you ever seen anything like this? Not only the fact that so many guys are being let go now and the money buyouts. If Florida State fires Norvell today, which they are expected to do, $58 million he has to be paid. I don't understand it, Jermaine. I don't get it.
I guess Florida State told Penn State, hold my Sprite.
Yeah,
these
right.
buyouts are just so – I mean, I wish I could do my job, well, I don't want to ever get canned. No, I don't want to speak that. But to get fired and you get millions and millions of dollars. Now, obviously, I think if one of the teams, and I want to say it might be Florida State, or it's one of the schools, I can't remember, but even because if you find a new job, the buyout stuff kind of dwindles. But Norvell is due half the money, and then he gets the rest of it over like by Friday or something.
Yeah,
he gets like half of it, if I'm not mistaken. Does that sound right?
I know that's the way it is with Napier. I know
that's
Napier.
right. Okay, yeah, that's why I got to mix. Sorry, I got to mix up Napier. So Billy Napier, he's supposed to get like 50 some odd million, right? Does that sound right? Or is that more or less? Okay.
Yeah.
But he's supposed to get half his money Friday, and then it's paid off over time.
Right.
So it's like, what? I mean, I need somebody to negotiate my contracts like that. So if you get canned, you're going to get a big golden parachute. And not just, I'm sure it happens in corporate America too, where you have the big corporation, say the CEO gets out, and for no fault of his own, he gets out of there.
Right.
But Rick, and where this money? And so I read somewhere that for Florida, they're still paying for 2 other head coaches.
Yeah, they are.
I think it was Muschamp, and who was before Muschamp? It was like 3. Right now, they're paying off 3 coaches and their staff.
Was it Mullen? Was it Dan Mullen?
I think it's Dan Mullins, Muschamp, and now Napier. Gosh, I mean,
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand.
Rick, and then you mentioned the Virginia Tech job. It's still an attractive job now. Yeah, the bids are coming up, and with what Virginia Tech is going to do with the money for the program, people still want that. Now, obviously, there's some other things around that might deter them with, as far as the committee. Maybe some coaches don't want to deal with a committee situation, which is another interesting deal. But it's just interesting how these teams are just, it's a win now thing. It used to be, hey, give them some time. But you got coaches, being fired after 2 or 3 years because they're not winning. And these places, they put the money in, they want you to spend the money, but they want you to do it wisely. And quite honestly, it's just one of those things. Hey, I want to win now. I need to see results. And it's a results business. And if you're not doing it, or if they feel like the program is not going a certain direction, and and things of that nature. I mean, you're hearing stuff down in South Carolina now. I mean, you're hearing stuff about Coach Beamer down there, and it's a shame, but it's like, hey, you got to win. And if you're not winning now, look at the comp. And see, people got to look at it like this. Look at the conference you're in. I mean, the SEC is loaded. All those teams.
Every year.
So it's kind of like you gotta. And then everybody's talking about Nick Saban might be going to Florida or Nick Saban to Penn State. And Mark Ingram said on the Fox pregame show, he said that's not going to happen. Now, again, you gotta. I mean, I'm I guess a never say never type guy. I mean, I thought Bill Belichick will be a UNC, and that's another job that could open up too. So
could be, yeah.
I think what it is what it's used to be. These firings would happen at the end of the season. Oh no, not so fast, my friend.
Yeah.
They're happening during the season, and they want to get their ducks in a row and say, "Hey, look, we want to be up for the job and all that." But it's a tough business right now. If you're not winning, and even when you are winning, it's still not enough. Like you could go, you could go 7-0, but people say, "Well, we don't like how you're winning. You're only winning by possession." But it's a tough job. I mean, gosh, being a head coach at college, you got to win. If you're not winning, Rick, bye-bye.
I know. And think about Napier. They reported that he was told before the game on Saturday, that day, that was his last game. So he had to go through the game. They win the game. They rally. They got the interception at the end. They struggled. They beat Mississippi State. I watched him on the post-game interview. He had a big old smile on his face because I guess he knew, okay, well, at least I got all this money coming. I'm going to go out at least with a winning game. And, of course, he's fired the next day. They said he started cleaning out his office after the game. Players left, and he was he knew he was going to be fired because he'd already been told that. To their credit, at least they told him ahead of time. But it's just bizarre, the culture that's out there in the environment. I've never seen anything like it. These agents are getting ahead of it all. Maybe they're controlling some of this early. But to see this many in season and all these rumors. But you're right, the money. All we hear about is how poverty in college athletics. How are we going to keep up with the money? Yet here we are giving all this money to coaches who couldn't do their job, who are already being paid a lot of money.
And the thing is, Rick, it's just, I mean, it's never going to stop. And then they talk about they're trying to rein things in and do all that. But these big money boosters, I mean, there are a lot of big money boosters that, if they got the money and they want to throw it out there, that's on them. But that's just seeing the money just fly around out there. And then, it's just people want a winner and they want to, it's kind of like bragging rights. Like if let's say, you got your college out there and you're a corporate guy and you're you're an alumnus of school X and your rival is school B and school B is still in the game, but school X, like, look, we need to win. And so I think a lot of times it's just the success. And then something is really lost on this, the impact on the kids, these college kids. I mean, because we do want to treat them like professionals. But let's face facts, Rick, these are 18 to 22-year-olds.
Yeah.
How they deal with change? Because it's like your lifestyle is based on, just think about it, these are college coaches. Their lifestyle is dependent on how an 18 to 22-year-old performs. And that is something that I think people get lost on that because you don't know. Pro athletes, they act a certain way, but they're still professionals and they're supposed to act, be professionals. But you don't know what goes on in the mind of an 18 to 22-year-old. Put yourself in that position. When we were 18 to 22 years, the pressure that's put on these kids, because a lot of these kids, they want to be professional athletes. And the way the college game is now, it's like we're treating them like
they are. Yeah.
Athletes.
Yeah.
But the pressure, if let's say they have a bad something going on with them personally, it's going to impact them on the field. And especially you're changing coaches. And then, you have an interim coach. And then as a player, you can go one or two ways. You can rally behind the interim situation or not. But a lot of the players might have already checked out. Like, well, shoot, this staff's not going to be here next year. And I'm probably not going to be here next year.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So it's like it's so much impact, Rick. I mean, it's just we talk about the coaches getting their money, but these players too. And then the families of these assistant coaches. And I feel bad for them because, they were brought in and now they got to uproot again. I mean, it's hard for coaches to put roots down anywhere, whether you're a head coach, assistant coach, because they know if they're not performing, they're going to be gone. And a lot of them probably, a lot of assistant coaches or like of that ilk, they probably were in a better situation before, and then after 1 or 2 years, they're gone, and they got to scramble and maybe take a position that's less than what they had. Like you might have a coach that was an offensive coordinator over here, but they can't get a coordinator spot because of what happened. So now they got to probably take, a position coach or whatever else. So there is so much going on, Rick. It is just so mind-boggling, and it just blows your mind. And you're saying to yourself, wow. So
I know.
I guess the biggest thing is this thing's not going to end. I mean, once the tooth pays out the tube.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the money. It's like the money. It's like we're talking. It's almost, if you add it up, we're talking billions of dollars.
Billions of dollars in payouts and buyouts. Yeah.
I mean, add it up. Like if you add up, all right, all the coaches that were fired, you add up all the payouts, I guarantee it's close to $1 billion.
There's no question. No question.
Yeah, because if you got you had two payouts, or that's $100 million by itself with James Franklin. That's $100 million right there.
And then if they fire Norvell today, that's $58 more million.
Yeah.
Hey.
And then and you don't think that Coach Kelly at LSU, you don't think his buyout was huge?
I wonder what it is. Yeah, that's got to be massive. It's got to be massive.
And then what Jimbo's buyout was in the 70s, wasn't it? 70 million?
That's why he's still getting. Yeah, that's why he hadn't gotten back into coaching. He doesn't need to.
Why get back to coaching? I mean, I want that money. I want that check rolling in. It's like
absolutely.
It's like Bobby Bonilla Day,
Exactly. Every year. Yeah. Wow, it's unbelievable. Well, on you and I will be recording Fourth to Goal. We'll cover all the high school stuff. Get people. We're down in the final couple 3 games of the season coming up, so we'll cover all that as well. And I'm looking forward to that. I always like talking to you about high school football here coming up. So,
gosh, you know what? It's crazy, Rick, because I mean, gosh, we're getting ready to hit week 9.
I know.
3 more weeks in the regular season, and then these playoff spots. I mean, we'll talk about it, later on, but. These Wayne K said blue chips.
Yeah, blue chips was way ahead of its time.
Yeah,
we reference it all the time. They were right on it.
Oh, Wayne K says Kelly's buyout is $53 million. Well, wait, you gotta have Wayne K on the show. He be busted out.
$53 million. Okay, so there you go. A little less than Norvell. There's a lot of money. Well, there you go. A lot of money.
You need to have Wayne K on the show because he be busted out dollars. I think he does a better job than. I know he's doing a better job than me. So Wayne K, you the man. You the man, Wayne K. He's the man.
He's my guy. He has time to go look all this up. What I'm like, what is that now? What are we doing here?
We someone's got our job here, but we can't. Wayne K. He's like the MVP almost. Like he just, he's like that player that if you need a go-to basket, you pull him off the bench. And you say, hey, give me 10, give me 15 rebounds, something like that. Give me 10 point, 15 boards.
Yeah, go give me 10 minutes of defense there, Wade. Go.
There you go. At the start, it's like, what's that Progressive commercial where they tap in they got the guys that do it well, and they bring in the backup quarterback?
Yeah, let him go and let him go.
Let Wayne do the show for like about 3 or 4 weeks, and you got it. So good stuff.
All right, brother. Well, listen, man, have a great middle of the week, and we'll talk to you then. Get ready for some high school football.
Yeah, and real quick, if I could bring this up real quick, I know you're not a NASCAR guy, but we got Martinsville this week, and it is the last.
I do like Martinsville.
Martinsville is penultimate race. And real quick, I'll go over this real quick. I'll give you your NASCAR segment. I'll be fast, I promise. So, Danny Hamlin, he's won. He's in. Chase Briscoe. Talladega was crazy yesterday. I mean, Briscoe, he's clinched a spot. So right now, the other 2 drivers above the cut line, Christopher Bell, he's 37 points above the cut line. And Kyle Larson is 36 points above the cut line. And then you have drivers below the cut line, William Byron, 36 below the cut line, Joey Logano, 38 below the cut line, Ryan Blaney, 47 below the cut line, and Chase Elliott, 62 points below the cut line. Now, 7 of the 8 drivers that are left in the round of 8, they've won at Martinsville before. The only one that hasn't is Briscoe, but he's in. But Hamlin won the spring race, and Ryan Blaney has won the last 2 fall races at Martinsville to clinch a spot into the championship 4. So a lot of stuff there. My NASCAR segment, I kept it quick. So there you go.
There you go. All right, my friend. We will talk here in a couple of days. Take care of yourself, brother.
You too, sir. Thank you.
All right, man. Take care. All right, there you go. Jermaine Farrell joining us on the program. Woody just sent me this on the text line. He goes, LSU's 5-2 with 0 ranked wins. They're still ranked number 20. Tennessee's 5-2, 0 ranked wins. They're number 17. USC is 5-2 with a ranked win, and they're unranked. You don't think there's bias by all this stuff with the certain conferences, what Signetti was talking about? Good stuff. Filmation scheduled to join us here in about 10 minutes, and then Todd Grantham will join us. Yeah, so that's coming up. Big-time stuff. Big-time stuff. Steven, I don't know what that means. Is that a 4? Steven in chat, what is that? Jason says the coaching carousel is haunting my dreams. Yeah. I mean, you just look. Okay, Virginia's gotten themselves out of the carousel, right? Because Tony Elliott's likely going to get an extension, so they don't have to worry about anything going forward. They don't want to be part of it. I mean, you don't want to be part of all this. Right? So UVA has played themselves out of it. Now they'll extend and probably increase the buyout for Tony Elliott. That never happened, Wayne. I never laid out Grantham at practice. No. Never did. But there's no question that the two best players I played with or against and gotten the hell beat out of me against in practice was Todd Grantham and Jack Turner. Yeah. They were Pulaski County football. They represented everything that Coach Hicks brought to the table. Everything. Absolutely everything. By the way, Virginia Tech 4.5-point favorites over California on Friday night. Couldn't stay up and watch it all, but I watched some of the Cal game the next day against Carolina. They're not great. They have some good skill. Tech can beat them up front. They're coming across the country. It'll look pretty even on paper, but that's a game Tech should be able to win on Friday. We'll see. Now things can change, and you never know. But I think Tech will get their third win on Friday. Cal they edged out North Carolina to keep them on their downward trajectory. No word yet on if Bill and Jordan are back from the Napa Valley vineyards out there in NorCal. I haven't heard whether they've made the trip back. I understand they were going to stay for a few days. Morris says, Dabo is fired. Would Elliott be a candidate? I don't know. He hasn't done it at UVA. I know he's a Clemson guy. They think a lot of him down there. I don't know. It's a good question, Morris. I wouldn't think so, just looking at everything that's happened in Charlottesville, because he was on the hot seat. And that's another thing. It's going to be interesting, isn't it? What if Clemson does come open? What if that does happen? Wow. Right? You open up the Clemson job. Does that immediately become the number one job in the country? Morning, Rick. Would you take Napier in Blacksburg? Feels like he's a good coach. It's a tough situation in Florida. I don't know. No, I mean, look, one of the main reasons James Franklin goes on TV like he did on Saturday was because part of his getting his full buyout is he's supposed to be looking for another job. So what helps him make sure he keeps all of his buyout? He goes on TV and tells people he wants to coach again. I don't know what these guys' motivations will be making that much money. And I don't know Virginia Tech. Do you want Virginia Tech just to be a landing spot for a coach who doesn't really have the motivation financially I mean, I don't know what their motive. Again, it comes down to individual. That's why you have people who supposedly know what a football coach looks like that'll fit in Blacksburg, like Bruce Arians and Bud Foster. But I don't know. It changes a lot of these guys' motivations, I'm sure. But anyway, Todd Grantham joins us at 8 o'clock. Joining us now on the program, I believe, is he still in Madison, Wisconsin? What's up, Coach Omation? How are you? Good morning.
Buddy, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Boy, what a weekend you had. Thanks for the pictures, man. I felt like I was there. Yeah. By the way, your wife is beautiful. By the way, tell her I said that.
I can still recruit.
You know that. You're still recruiting. You're still, man, oh, man. I mean, I'm like, really, Coach? Really?
Hey, Rick, I had to take shag lessons to marry you. And it was worth it.
Oh, well, let's talk about your weekend. Before we get into the mess.
Well, it all starts with this, Rick. When you live in Myrtle Beach, there's no such thing as birthdays. Her birthday was this month. Our anniversary's today.
Well, happy anniversary.
Well, thank you.
That's
but
awesome.
Her birthday was, I think, I forget, the 9th. Okay, October. And so, but you don't have birthdays. You have birthday. It's a birthday month.
That's right.
You celebrate it for a month. Okay, and everybody in Myrtle Beach, because it's Myrtle Beach is AARP on steroids. Hey, I got a hip replacement, had a handicap sticker. Guess what? They're all taken. It's worthless.
We're all going to Myrtle Beach.
Honest to God, you'll be there someday.
I'll be there someday. Right beside you.
5 o'clock happy hours. The weekend starts on Wednesday in the off season.
Absolutely.
But no, we started out going to see an Andrea Bocelli concert.
That's right.
In Greenville, South Carolina. It's our 5th time seeing him. We are groupies.
You are.
Then,
you are.
Then we came back home to Little River. Then ended up going to flying out of Greenville because. To Madison, to O'Hare, Chicago O'Hare, drove up to Madison, and it was a first-class great weekend.
It looked like it.
Barry Alvarez, he was always, every time we went to bowls, especially the Rose Bowl, it was always a first-class trip. And then we flew out of O'Hare. We left at 3 a.m. on Sunday to drive back to O'Hare, flew out of O'Hare, got back to Greenville. Now we're in the mountains of North Carolina. We're in Sapphire Valley. So we're on the last leg of a trip, but it's been wonderful, wonderful.
Well, how's Coach Alvarez doing? Great pictures of you two. He looks good. Is he hanging in? Is he having fun? Is he enjoying life now?
Yeah, he is. He's had a knee replacement, and he got an infection on it. Like everybody who has a knee replacement, I swear, everybody I talk to gets an infection. So he had that, and he's dealing with that, but he's doing okay. I was just talking to my buddy, Brian White. Brian was our offensive coordinator at Wisconsin, and he couldn't come. So I sent him a bunch of pictures. So just before I got on with you, I had just gotten off the phone with him, and we both concurred. B. White, he's still coaching at Bowling Green, so he couldn't come. He's still coaching. And I call him B. White, and we both of us concurred that Barry was the one coach. If you experience him, he will teach you how to enjoy winning. Now, he'll fire you.
Sure.
I promise you that. And Sundays cannot be pretty sometimes. But after that game, I don't care how bad your position played. I don't care how bad the team played. If we win the game, you put a smile on your face and you get in that locker room and you enjoy it.
Yeah.
And, in the springtime when I first got there, about 3:30, 4 o'clock on a Friday, he'd go walking down the hall and he said, "All right, boys, we've done enough for the program today. Let's go."
Let's
we go bar hopping all over Madison. And no one does this anymore. It was Barry and his boys.
Sure.
Barry and his boys, and he was such a, he could have run for governor or mayor of Madison. So it was a big deal when we go to these places and all the staff, the whole football staff. So that says it all about Barry. And the other thing, Rick, that I will share with you and the audience, one thing in this business, there's 2 things that bring you back in coaching. For me personally, but I think a lot of my friends would agree with me. 2 things. Number one, the players. your players that you get the opportunity and the honor to coach them. Okay. And then the second thing, and I believe you'll appreciate this, there's no better place on earth than in a locker room after a win. Because of, from the managers to the trainers to the assistants to the head coach to the walk-on, the player that's not even gotten the game, to Ron Dane, the Heisman Trophy winner, whatever. Yeah. All that effort and work you put in that week, or from August and the spring and the off season to that Saturday culminates. Your body of work is to that Saturday in front of the whole nation.
Right.
If you're, and you come off with that win, and it is special because winning is hard.
It is hard. It is hard. Harder for some than others.
Wait. Listen. No. Hey, when you're at Wisconsin, you're not beating Ohio State in recruiting. You're not beating Michigan in recruiting. We're not. Never beat them. And we went to the Horseshoe in '99, and we were down 17-0 at the half. And we ended up putting 42. We shut them out in the second half and put up 42 points in the second half. Ron Dane had 250 yards. Right, I don't know. It was ridiculous. We ended up beating them in the Horseshoe, but it was a great celebration. And the other thing too is the players that came back, the stories of how they got there. I don't know if I've been any place. There's always been one kid or two kids. There's numerous Wisconsin kids that grow up there. It's the only show in town, that and the Green Bay Packers. There's no 1AA. There's no, it's all or none. You either go to Whitewater, lacrosse, Oshkosh, or you're walking on at Wisconsin, because there's no other place. There's no other scholarship schools. And so our walk-ons, 3 out of our 4 captains for the Rose Bowl were walk-ons.
Really? Wow.
Oh, yeah. Great story. Named Mark Tauzier, Wisconsin kid, walks on to the University of Wisconsin, 3-year starter, with the 2 Rose Bowls with him, started for the Green Bay Packers at center for 11 years. Now, how about that story?
That's awesome. That's great. What a dream for him.
What a dream,
yeah.
You talk about living a dream.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And then I had another kid named Jason Doring from Rhinelander, which is close to the Canadian border, and he walked on, earned a scholarship, was a 3-year starter, great player for us. Went to 2 he played 4 years in the NFL. Mike Tomlin was the DB coach for the Colts.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's right. Yeah.
Well, I go visit the Colts when I'm at Purdue, and he's still on the roster, still on the team. And I told him, I said, look, your lunch money to these guys, they can afford you, but you got to make it where they can't afford to let you go.
There you go. Yeah, yeah.
So I go to Mike Tomlin, and we're walking to the meeting, and Jason's going to be. And I said, when you cutting this guy? He goes, I can't. He knows all these positions. But that was the joy of the whole weekend, seeing all these. We had a kid named Cecil Martin, our fullback, homeless kid, lived in his car with his mom in Chicago, literally lived in a car. Not all his life, but he recruits Barry. He's got no other scholarship offers. Kid was our starting fullback for 3 years, played in the NFL for 6, started in the NFL for 6 years. So that was the beauty of the weekend.
That's what it's about. Well, let's talk about the bad thing about it. What did you hear about Luke Fickell? I mean, they didn't get much resistance at all.
Really, the jump around was great.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, man. That was cool.
I sent you the video, didn't I?
You did, and the fact it came from you when you're there at the game means more than if you just see it on TV. That's cool.
Yeah, no, it was great. And 77,000, 72,000, and the crowd was great. But offensively, they're really struggling. They are now Ohio State. I've always said this over the years. That you got the state of Ohio as your footprint, and football in Ohio. You could talk about Florida, you could talk about Alabama and Texas, Louisiana. But let me tell you, of all the northern schools, northern states, north of the Mason-Dixon line, there's no better high school than Ohio kids. And you look at all the MAC teams, where there's 7 MAC teams in the state of Ohio. You look at Ohio State, you look at their rosters. When I was at Purdue, the Ohio kids that I was able to coach they were special kids. It's just they love football. They grow up with it. And so Ohio State, this is my prediction. It's going to be Alabama, Ohio State. They're going to face each other somewhere in that playoff scenario, I think. And they're really good, but Wisconsin's offense is really poor. They may not win a Big Ten game. Defensively, they played hard. They tackled well. They actually held Ohio State as far as rushing is concerned. Ohio State had the talent to rush for 200, but they didn't. They kept them under 100 yards rushing. That's a win. Physically, you're not getting like I said, when you get the run, when you get the crap kicked out of you on the run, your manhood gets taken away. So Defensively, they could go out of that game with positives. They tackled well. They played hard. Their pass defense was very static. This is what I hate about going to games. I hate going to games because I'm still working, And then now, I'm looking at the third downs. I see they had a 4th and 9, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 10. Ohio State's converting them, and they're not. I turned to my buddy. We were sitting with my buddy, was my former GA. I said, what we'd be doing right now? We'd be blitzing his butt off. We got to disrupt this quarterback. And so, but it was a valiant effort defensively. But, I don't think he's going to make it.
Yeah, and I wonder what you're hearing pressure-wise with that job. And I'm a little surprised. I thought he was going to be a nice fit there, what he did at Cincinnati.
It was a home run.
It was a home run, yeah.
He was the guy, Luke Fickell, former Ohio State, did a good job in the interim as best he could. And then he goes to Cincinnati, knocks it out of the park. And next thing you know, he goes to Wisconsin. Barry had a right formula. And he got it, and I'm sure he got this advice. Well, he coached at Iowa with Hayden Fry for years. That's what his job. So, when you're at Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, you're not beating Michigan or Ohio State. And then when Penn State came in, you're not beating those guys in recruiting, especially Ohio State, Michigan. Forget it. And Barry. So but in the states of Minnesota and Wisconsin and Iowa, for whatever reasons, you can get big offensive linemen. Okay. I mean, when we have our Wisconsin camps, it's an offensive line coach's dream. Because if you got 500 kids in the camp, like 3 of them are offensive line, 300 of them are offensive line. We got 20 DBs coming in. Jesus. So Barry, basically, you got the heart and soul from the state of Wisconsin, and you can't let Minnesota, Nebraska, or Northwestern come into Wisconsin and get a kid. You can't. You got to put a fence around it, get the kids you want, and get the walk-ons back in the day. Because there's no other schools, and they'll stay in state. They grew up Badgers. You were either wearing Green Bay gear or Badger gear. So, you end up, and then you go out and get the arms and legs from out there. Ron Dane from New Jersey,
right.
You get the arms and legs from other parts of the country. And he had a formula. His formula, we're going to, like they did at Iowa. And like Lou also did at Minnesota when I was there, we're going to run the ball, play as good a defense as we have to play, and maybe play great defense. But we're going to run the ball. It's going to be clock and field position and kicking game. And that formula still hasn't changed. The spread offense is kind of, tweaked it to, that you got to score points, but. That and here we are up in Wisconsin. They're running the spread offense. Instead of lining up, like we did back in the day. And I still think you can do that to create your first downs. I mean, they were just it was painful to see them not 3 and out. So, but you got to have a formula, and Barry had the formula.
Yeah, he did. What a great coach. Phil Mason joining us on the program. He's back from his Rose Bowl team celebration weekend up in Madison.
Hey, right. I got my Badger hat.
Hey, there's Bucky. What's up, Bucky?
And then, more importantly, when I come down here, I do trout fishing. I got my fishing hat.
Oh, you got both. Yeah, go Highlanders. Hey, I love
baby.
it. There you go.
I caught that big smallmouth in the New River with this hat, so this is my good luck charm.
There you go. You got to come by. You got to come by. Hang out with. We'll get you by practice, man. You can hang out and watch our basketball team. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. Yeah, when I come up, I sure will.
Let's talk about what's going on. It's such madness right now. I know you watch. You were part of the industry for 40 plus years. I mean, have you seen anything like this?
No.
I mean,
well, this is shrapnel from NIL. This is exactly what the NIL and the portal. This is what I don't care. Listen, I know I got a William Mary degree, but I also went to Ferrum, so there's a mixture in there someplace. But I will promise you this. This is there's 12. Would you say 12 jobs right now?
12 jobs are already open. Yeah.
You not have 12 jobs at the end of the year back 20 years ago.
Right.
Of good jobs, maybe. You know, NFL's always a third of the 32 is always open. That's every year.
Right.
But in college, you know, you could have some year because of the large contracts, it kind of diminished a little bit. You know, because of the contracts and the longevity of the contracts, the firings kind of diminished and the movements came fast. The clock has changed. But what has changed everything, Rick? This is for the coaches, this is the byproduct of NIL plus the portal. This is the byproduct. This is the grenade that went off, and this is the shrapnel. And the coaches are they're landing on the grenades, and they're getting fired so fast. They're not even let to finish the season. You know, when we got fired at Virginia Tech with Coach Dooley, we got fired after the second game of the year. Matter of fact, after we beat Clemson at Clemson, but that was an administrative deal. But we got to finish the season up.
Right.
These guys are getting, doesn't matter. And you know what? People say, oh, and I've heard you say this. They'll say, well, you know, the money, you know, like Jimbo Fisher or what they're going to pay the Penn State guy, on and on and on. You brought that up. But here's my take on it, Rick. When they give you a contract and pay you that much, they have that much to fire you. Don't forget that.
That's a great point.
Don't even think about it that they're going to hire you, pay you the big contract and go, oh, crap. Damn, 3-4 years in. Oh, man, we got to come. Oh, no. They already had the money.
They have it. They
have it. If they got it to give, they got it to fire you. Period. No, they're not inking those contracts thinking, oh, we got the guy for the rest of the – there's no such thing as Frank Beamers anymore.
No.
Gone forever. 10 years, maybe. If you can make it for 10.
Oh, you're a Hall of Famer. Yeah.
And listen, Rick, if I was coaching today, I'd get one of them big contracts, I would do everything I could to get fired. and I probably would anyway, you know. But what the hell? This is crazy. It's nuts. It's nuts.
It is nuts.
And all these coaches I made $60,000 at Virginia Tech as a defensive coordinator. I took a $10,000 cut in pay as an assistant at Syracuse to go to Virginia Tech. They had no money. Todd Grantham, he was making 30 or 35. They were broke, had no money, zero. And, you know, and now they're making millions of dollars. And that's the good news, bad news. The good news, the coaches are getting paid. The bad news is they're getting paid. And you know what? As I look at it, it's not worth it. What we had and what we experienced is not about the good old days, but as coaches, we had fun. And those days.
Yeah, it was different. Yeah.
And don't worry about the head coaches, Rick. It's the assistants.
It's the assistants. Right. Well, yeah, that's a great point you make. So in other words, when you have all these reports that you see, oh, they're going to have trouble coming up with the buyout, we know it's just BS. Right.
No. And then, you know, it's not about Adidas has the contract. No. They have the money. It's like, okay, you know, they're all getting together in that smoke-filled room to get Jimbo Fisher or James Franklin. Hey, let's get, or they do great. Let's give them the extension. But after a while, they're going, okay, we got the money to fire? Yeah, we do. And they're all puffing on their cigars, and they got it.
You're right. That's why that's why they're doing this. That's why there's no hesitation to pull the trigger because
this is lunch money. They don't flinch.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. It's a great. Yeah.
Wow. That's my take on it.
Well, it's crazy, and so many things speculate, and you hear the names. All of a sudden, you hear about coaches posturing for other jobs. That's what Shane Beamer got caught up in over the weekend. It was out there. I know his agent's been working hard already because they think he's going to get, his pink slip. And he had to put out a statement yesterday saying, no. I love it here. I mean, it's bizarre. And I think and I think what you're saying is exactly true. We talk about the NIL, how the game itself, I think 7 ranked teams lost this weekend, how the game itself is kind of evened out. It's really fun to watch the game on the field because of the NIL. But you're right. What it's having, the ricochet effect with coaches is pretty evident.
Rick, let's use it. Let's have some fun with this. Okay, let's say you're a billionaire for whatever you do. Okay, all right, and you're going to give a quarterback of whatever your favorite, wherever you graduated from, a big time Power 4 school. You're going to give him 1.5 million, 1 or 2 million. Okay, and you're only winning 2 games. I want my money back.
Yeah, yeah.
Come on now. It used to be the big donors would lose big bets and they get them so upset. That's right. Now they're betting still, but then they're betting on the kid.
Betting on the player. Yeah.
They're betting on the player to get us all the notoriety that we want. And they're losing the bet money, and they're losing money to bet on the field play.
That's a great point. They're still betting, but just on the player. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster, and that's and that's why I always say, shame on the people that give all that money. Shame on them. It's not the kids; it's the adults that are killing everything.
Well, no, you're right. They had a chance to reel this in many, many decades ago. They could have had some foresight. All the people who are getting paid a lot of money to make decisions never did. And this is why we have what we have today.
You brought out a great point that I loved listening to. I can't wait to listen to Todd Grantham. He was my lifeblood at Virginia Tech.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's not a good offensive line coach. He was a great offensive line coach. Without him, we would have never been as good as we were on defense. We weren't great, but we were good enough to win 9 games.
Right.
And go from 2 wins to 9. We were good enough. But he was my lifeblood. He was smart, tough. Nick Saban worships the ground he walks on. I got the LSU job because of him. Because of Todd.
Yeah.
They'll say, just hire the guy, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But I thought the thing that you said today struck me, that don't hire names. I could not more. And one thing, I'm new to your show, but one thing you'll appreciate about me, if I disagree or whatever.
Oh, I know you will.
That may be the bad news about having me on. But
no, I love it. I love it.
I've been fired quite a few times because I've shared my thoughts in my personality way.
Right.
But I absolutely 100% agree with you. Virginia Tech, listen, if you're at Florida or Penn State, not even, but Florida, Penn State, where the expectation is to win a national championship.
Every year, yeah.
Okay. The Alabamas, the LSU, and I have an experience here. I can go into that one what Brian Kelly's going through. But when you're at Virginia Tech, okay, let's go win an ACC championship. And the rest of the chips will fall however they fall. If you're at Virginia Tech, you got to make sure with your play. If you're in Nebraska back in the day, the last thing you do is wheel in the national championship trophy because those days are over. Hey, let's go win the conference first. And then if we win the conference, fine, we're in the playoffs. So keep it as a recruit to your conference. Keep it as a conference structure, okay? Not national, but let's make sure, like Barry did at Wisconsin. We went back-to-back Rose Bowls, back-to-back. Our 2 Big Ten losses were to Michigan.
Right.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, right.
He beat us because we had the better team. But my point being is, if you're a Virginia Tech, it's just like in recruiting, you're actually have a bigger picture, a larger to choose from than the big schools, because your pool is smaller, because you got to win the press conference.
That's right.
Okay. At Virginia Tech, what you're saying, I'll put it in my words. Don't try to win the press conference. Okay. Here's examples. All right. Lou Holtz. Who was Lou Holtz with William Murray? And he won. He won.
Immediately.
2 years.
Yeah.
2 years. He won. Goes to NC State. Turns it around. 2 dire bad programs. And the rest is history. So he has a body of work. Okay. Nick Saban. Do you know Nick Saban's first head job was? Toledo.
Toledo, yeah.
He went 10-1. Then he jumped to the Browns when Belichick got the job. But he went to Toledo. Then he went and Toledo was in a dire straits. Goes to Michigan State. Dire straits, had recruiting issues prior.
Right,
blah,
right.
Blah. Turns it around. The rest is history. Okay? Just follow me on this. Joe Tiller. These are guys I work with. So I'm telling you how.
Sure.
I'm not just throwing names out and stuff. These are guys. I saw this. I was there when they went into the programs and turned them around. Joe Tiller, Wyoming, for like 6 years, consistently winning the championships out there. Goes to Purdue. Hadn't been to a bowl in 27 years.
Right.
Wins in 3 years, 4 years, I think 3 or 4, wins the Big Ten, goes to the Rose Bowl with Drew Brees. And went to a bowl every year.
Every year.
George Welsh. Did he win the press conference? He came from, he was an assistant, won at Navy.
Right.
Was it Navy?
Right.
What?
He was at Navy. Yeah.
What? George Welsh at Virginia. Oh, okay. You know, Nick Saban at LSU. What? Are you kidding me? What? Who's Nick Saban? Okay. Lou Holtz going to Arkansas or Notre Dame, you know, and then, so those are the guys. Then you look at the guys I don't know, I haven't been with them, but as a coach, you go, oh yeah, I'm hiring this guy.
Yeah. Right.
At IUP, JMU, like you said, Google me. You know, the Google guys.
Right. That's right. Google him.
I love that line. Google me. And all you do is you Google him. You're going, why do we hire this guy?
Yeah, I don't get it. It's I think the answer is simple for Tech, but they're not going to likely do what I tell them to do.
Dave Clawson.
Oh,
Dave Clawson wins at Richmond, wins at Bowling Green, won 2 MAC championships. I coached against those teams.
Right.
They were, when I was at UMass, they were ridiculous. Then he goes to Wake, brings them back for the dead. And then even Jimmy Grobe, he's at Ohio U for, you know, you got to get guys that have a body of work in programs that were in dire straits. And here's the deal. It's not consistency. It's sustainability, which is the toughest thing in the sports business. Winning is hard, but sustaining is harder. I mean, way harder.
Coach, I want to follow up on a point you made, and I did mention this last week. I wanted you to talk about it. I didn't talk about it, but I thought what you said, because you explained it to me on the phone. Okay, Tech fan, some of them are all heated about, hey, let's get James Franklin. We don't know. I don't think that's going to happen, but let's say he gets an interview. What you told me about what you would like to see if you were like making that hire as the AD and what you would talk to his lawyer about. Can you share that? Because I thought this was some nice insight.
Oh, no question. If I'm the athletic, if I'm on the committee, whoever, you know, if they let me be on the committee and I get a phone call from James Franklin's agent, I'd sit there and go, okay, we'll talk. Now, make sure I understand one thing.
Right.
I want the Vanderbilt James Franklin interviewing for this job. I do not want the Penn State James Franklin. If James Franklin, I want him to turn the clock back exactly how he interviewed for Vanderbilt. I want that same interview. And I think that, because what he did at Vanderbilt was phenomenal. Now, what he did at Penn State under the circumstances after all that disaster with Joe Paterno and
yes,
that was, now give me some of that too, in terms of how you got that turned under those circumstances. But I don't want to know about last year and this year, or why it even didn't work at Penn State. I want to know what your plan was going to Vanderbilt. How did you turn that program? I coached against his teams twice. And when I was at UMass, we played Vanderbilt. They were good. They were really good on defense. Pry was the D coordinator, and they had Rodgers as the quarterback, the kid and now doing the TV today, and I don't know if it's the SEC channel, some channel. And then they had a great all SEC running back. They won 8 or 9 games. Give me that guy. And then I'll interview him. And if I don't hire him or I don't want to hire him, so what? You're going to learn about what to look for on the next interview. Or you're going to be able to experience, go find the guys that have turned programs around. If you don't hire them, at least you'll have the experience of how you do it. For example, for me, it's a personal experience. I had a reputation that I could go in, whether it's especially positionally, if the DBs were playing real poor, and get it turned around. And it was very simple. Personnel. Okay, 3 reasons. That's what I used to tell them.
Yeah.
There's 3 reasons why you're poor. Okay? Now, that doesn't mean, and you got to dig to what you got and find what you don't have and make your decisions. And through my experiences, that I knew what I was looking for. I knew exactly the picture. Those are the guys you want. That's the Cignetti. Cignetti has a picture of exactly the people he wants in his program from a talent standpoint, from a character standpoint. Okay. Carpenter at Roanoke College. That's that's his guy. That's the kind of guys he can win with. Brings him to Indiana and wins with. So when you look at the JMU, I think the JMU guy, because of his body of work at Holy Cross and the consistency at JMU.
I know.
Okay. I'm talking to him. If they don't talk to him, shame on them. Shame on them. I'm not saying offer him the job. I'm not saying he should be the guy.
Sure.
Rick, I've never been one of those guys
That's
to
right.
say, hey,
that's right.
This is the guy you want. No. If you don't talk to him, he's not beneath you, Virginia Tech. Trust me, I'm talking to Virginia Tech fans right now.
He's not
beneath you. Okay? They hired Frank Beamer from Murray State. Okay? And it took him 5 years. But you can't do that anymore because of the NIL and portal. Those days are over. You got to do it in 2. You got to turn it fast.
Yeah, very fast. Very fast.
So I not necessarily agree with you, but I am on the exact same page as you as far as from a coach's perspective. Don't hire Nate. My point is don't try to win the press conference.
Right.
You have to win the press conference at Florida. You don't have to win it at Virginia Tech. You don't want to win it. Go fight. Indiana did not win the press conference with Frank Cignetti. Okay? So I just agree with you 100%.
Well, I just think you got to spread that net around. Don't fall in love with a name or a school. And you've got people here that you hit it on the head. There's nobody beneath the Virginia Tech job.
No, nobody in any school, let alone Virginia Tech. And listen, I can always talk from a standpoint. I did 2 tours of duty there, and there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears on those.
Right.
So not that I'm an authority, but I think I got some credibility. I wish I was on that damn committee because I'd have one thing and I would never say another word. Okay, where's the body of work?
Where's the body of work?
Show me the body of work on places that weren't supposed to do it. And I need consistency. I don't need a one-hit wonder. I don't need 2 years of winning with the other guy's talent. Okay, and that's how I look at it. And they really need a good body of work.
A good body of work.
Dave Lawson, going to Richmond and winning, going to Bowling Green and winning. Bang, Wake Forest. There's no accident. Cignetti, IUP, JMU. There's no accident. Lou Holtz, William & Mary, NC State. After the Jets goes to Arkansas and they were in dire straits. Then he takes the Minnesota job. Turns out, and then guess what? Notre Dame. That's how he got the Notre Dame job. The body, he got the Notre Dame job. I tell you how he got the Notre Dame job. This is when they hired him. Faust was still the head coach, and this is a fact. He gets the Notre Dame job because when he's at Arkansas, remember he went to the Orange Bowl and suspended all his great players? Remember that, Rick?
I do.
Suspended his starters, like 4 starters, because they broke the do-right rule.
I remember that, yeah.
When I played for him, we had one rule, the do-right rule.
The do-right rule.
You break it,
you don't play. You don't play. Yeah.
And he goes down and beats Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl, who was number 1 in the country. I think Oklahoma was either 1 or 2. Beats them 31-0. That's when Father Hesburgh, I think it was Father Hesburgh, that's when he got the job at Notre Dame.
Yeah, I don't blame
that dynamic.
Hey, Coach, I got a surprise for you. You ready?
Yeah.
My man.
Todd Grantham. There he is.
How we doing?
This is the AARP for coaches.
Yeah. What's happening, buddy?
You. I love this guy.
You going fishing anytime this week? You going fishing anytime this week?
I'm going trout fishing. I'm in the mountains.
There you go.
Hey, I got my good luck hat.
Yep. Hey, the best story about Phil is when he was a DB coach there, we had this corner and he didn't play the route right. And he made him go over and get this water cooler that probably weighed about 50 pounds. And he made him pull the water cooler out on the field. And he goes, run the route again. And he's like, I can make this water cooler cover just as good as you did. And,
I thought it was Eric Hayes. Poor kid.
It was Eric Hayes.
I love
pull that water cooler over, run the route again. He goes, that water cooler cover just as good as you.
Yeah, get off the field. I said, run the route again. I said, let me tell you, I recommended you to have a scholarship because he was a walk-on, and you deserve it, and you're playing well for us. But right now, I'm giving your scholarship to that water bucket because it did a whole lot more
than the water cooler. That's exactly right.
That's when it was fun, Rick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Well, it's great. I wanted you two to have a moment here because I know Coach Grantham and Coach
I
Mason.
can't wait. Listen, I'm going to get off. I'm out of here. I want to listen to my man. I love this guy. This guy took J.C. Price, Bernard Basham, who Frank hated. We had a kid named, what was Holland's first name, Todd?
Jeff Holland. Jeff Holland.
From Western Branch, smart, had the highest GPA at the time on the defense because, when you take over a bad program, the academic apathy is the first thing you got to fix. Okay? It's the first thing you got to fix. Seriously. Todd will tell you eventually. So we got Jeff Holland, and, he's probably the slowest kid we got. He might know 5 flat, Todd, 5'1", 5'2" on a good day. So we J.C. Price is hurt. We got a bunch of guys hurt in the spring. So we're not trying to run him off, but we're going to probably say, get this guy to offense. He can run well enough. We had 100-play scrimmage. He took every snap and never came out.
Yeah.
We're looking at the film the next day. That last snap was as good as the first one. We go out because we got to keep him. He started for us.
Hey, the kid ended up playing like 20 plays a game for us.
Yeah. 20 winning plays.
That's right.
20. I told Todd with Bernard Basham, I said, Todd, for 25 plays, he's going to play for us. On the 26th play, he's playing for the opponent. It's your job to figure this out.
Yep.
We had more fun.
That's great.
We had more fun with those kids.
Yep. That was fun changing the program.
This guy was an offensive lineman for us when my first go around to Tech in the Peach Bowl.
Yeah.
The Pulaski, I had Billy Myers,
Ooh.
Todd Grantham, and Kinzer.
Oh my goodness, great! That's the trio. Absolutely.
And Billy Myers was one of my all-time favorites ever.
Yeah.
Love that kid. I've never coached a redhead that wouldn't knock the crap out of you. Never. I don't know why. They're all pissed off at the world. I got no clue. But there's never been my career. When I see the redhead, I go, oh no, I know he's tough.
He's tough.
Hey, I'll let you go to Todd.
All right, take care, bud. Stay in touch.
Coach, I'll talk to you later in the week, Coach. Great stuff. I'm glad you had such a great weekend in Madison, man. That's awesome.
Thank you so much. Hey, buddy, stay in touch with me.
You got it.
I'm out of here.
All right, Filmation, ladies and gentlemen, how great is that? And we segue from one great coach to another. Joining us now on the program, as you know, is Todd Grantham. What's up, TG? What's up, brother?
Not much, man. Just hanging out, reminiscing there. Phil was one of the all-time greats. He's really one of the guys that helped change the Virginia Tech program. If you go back and look at the history of it, I mean, the year he got hired was the year we went to play. I think it was Indiana in the Independence Bowl. And he was a big part of that. So great guy, man. Loves to fish, loves telling stories. Awesome person.
Well, let's get updated on you. Of course, you've been at Oklahoma State most recently, and with Coach Gundy, yep. And we know what happened there. That was one of the early changes of the jobs that we saw in the country. But I guess going back, you've been at so many places. Your resume is just
yep.
like. It's the most impressive thing I've ever seen. But what was it about Oklahoma State at the time and Coach Gundy that really made you think, you know what? I know they're down to a certain level right now, but let's go build this thing back.
Yeah, well, they were 0-9 the year before, and they were one of the worst defenses in college football. And I really like Coach Gundy. Like when I met him, I would say the biggest thing, and this is the way I coach, this is kind of the way I've raised my kids, is, I'm willing to take on challenges. As a coach, you're wanting to tell your players to, don't accept, continue to get better. So you have to take on challenges. So I looked at, hey, yeah, this is a challenge, but look, I can do this. And, it would have been easy to say, hey, I don't want to do this. I want to go somewhere else. I want to do something else. That's the easy part of it. But I think the biggest thing is you go through life. I mean, people listen to your program, whether it's taking a new job or opening up a new business. And just like my players, I mean, they got to take the next step as a player. I mean, you got to be able to take on challenges and not look back. Don't look back at the outcome. Don't worry about the outcome, because I've had success everywhere I've been. And I fully expected to have success there. And we would have had success. I mean, at the end of the day, we just weren't afforded the time to fix it. That's really what it came down to. And I see myself as a competitor. Always have, always will, and I'll continue to be a competitor. So really what we'll do is we'll take the things that we've learned through this one and my other stops, and we'll go develop a top defense somewhere else and get to a championship game, at that next place. I mean, it's funny, you go back, Phil Almation was there, Virginia Tech, my last game at Virginia Tech was the Sugar Bowl in '95. And we were a top 5 defense. We had just won the Big East. We had just won the first BCS game in the history of the school. And Nick Saban calls and they're 6-5. And right. I had to make a decision, and it was the best decision I ever made for the growth of myself and my future. Is I went to Michigan State with Nick. And, you go back and look at other spots. I mean, when I went to Georgia, they were a 6-win team. Coach Rick called, they were a 6-win team, and they were in the Independence Bowl. And, if you're going to the Independence Bowl at the University of Georgia, you're not going to be there very long. So you have to change this, because there's a certain standard to what you're doing. And, it's funny is we were in year 2, and we were 0-2 to start that year. And we were playing Coastal, and the president walks by me, and he looks and he goes, "You realize we got to win this game, right?" I was like, well, I do now. So I'm like, hey, Coco, you got to be going for it on 4th down. But we ended up winning 10 straight, and we went to two SEC championship games during that era there. And it's going to happen. It's just that, are you going to be afforded the time? And basically, I was there 8 months, and they decided to make a change at head coach, and that affected, my status, and we move on. But look, I'll stand by my resume. I look forward to the next opportunity, and I really can't wait to get started.
Todd Grantham joining us on the program. His most recent stop, Oklahoma State. He won't be unemployed too much longer. Let's talk about recruiting. I know it was going great. You shared with me how you guys are already making inroads. That's why this whole timing makes no sense, really, because it is a new regime coming in, and whatever reasons they had, Oklahoma State, but watch their scores. It hasn't paid off. How is recruiting going, and when did you hear about the first rumblings of all this with Coach?
So basically, after their last game last year, Coach Gundy flew to New Orleans, and I met with him. And I can just tell you, Mike, like if you think about it, I had an opportunity. I mean, he's one of the most impressive guys that I've met. And I really felt, I believed in him, just like a player believes in a coach. I believed in him and his plan. And
sure,
he's really Oklahoma State. And if you go back and look at it, I've had the opportunity to work for Mike Gundy, Frank Beamer, and Nick Saban. I mean, all three of those guys are going to be in the Hall of Fame. And they all have their different personalities for how they want to do things. But at the end of the day, there's three things that their programs really are about. And that's really discipline, accountability, and toughness. Now, they get to it different ways, but really discipline, accountability, and toughness are the mainstays of their program. And that's what you got to have. And, when I met with Coach Gundy, he acknowledged the issues. Like, he didn't like the portal, which, hey, I understand. I mean, but it is what it is now. And he really acknowledged the issues they had, one, with the staff. A lot of guys, and this reminds me a little bit of when Bobby Bowden left Florida State. There's guys on the staff that had been there 12 to 15 years.
Yeah.
And what happens is there becomes, and it's just human nature, there's complacency. And, there was a staff issue that had to be addressed. There was personnel. And then the last thing was negotiating contracts now. I mean, you had to handle all of that. Now, to be honest with you, that aspect of it was pretty easy for me because being in the National Football League, you understood the priorities by position. And, he basically, when he hired me, he said, hey, I want you to be the head coach of the defense. I want you to handle the staff, the personnel, you recruit, you negotiate with Kenyatta, who was our GM at the time, to get the players you want. And really, it was going awesome. Like, if you go back and look, like, I got hired, I think it's like December the 12th. Well, the portal opened December the 9th. And basically, we had 17 days to fix an 0-9 team and a team that was worse, one of the worst defense in college football. And we really, we took a swing at it, and it was awesome. Like, if you just look at the guys I hired and the way they worked, we probably brought in that first go round about 20 new guys. But the other thing is you got to remember, when I got hired, you had to talk to the players on your current staff, on your current roster, about not going into the portal. So why should I stay? So you had to give those guys a vision for why they should jump in the portal. Then you had to evaluate your needs relative to who was coming back, who was leaving, what you had, what you want to run, and get in the portal and go find those guys. And you roughly had 17 days to get that done. So when you look at it, I mean, man, like we brought in roughly 20 guys in that first go round. And when you look at our front seven, like of the 16 guys that were really playing in the front seven, 14 of those guys came from the portal. And those guys were really a major upgrade. The issue that we ended up, and this is why sometimes it takes a little bit longer than, say, 8 months or 4 games, is that, our back end wasn't built the same way, in the sense that we probably had, of the 9 guys that played a lot for us in the back end, we only brought in 2 new guys. So 7 of the 9 were returning. And really, that was the focus coming up in this next portal cycle. Like, we had addressed our front issues from a portal standpoint. We had addressed those in the first go round. And we knew that going into this next cycle after this season, that we had to address the secondary. And that was an area that we needed to improve. Now, in doing that, it's always like, how do you upgrade your roster? Well, there's 2 ways to upgrade your roster. The first way you upgrade it is from the bottom up. And what that is meaning, okay, what's your vision for high school guys? Okay, because you can't pay everybody, so you have to develop players. So, we didn't get to sign anybody in the first cycle I got there, because the signing day actually happened in the 1st of December. So those guys were there. And of the guys that were signed, there's probably 3 guys out of the 12 to 15 guys they signed that I would say that are Division I quality guys that, hey, they can help us. The other guys, honestly, you're going to have a hard conversation with to let them understand, if they want to play, maybe this is the route they need to take. And that was going to happen. But our issue is we just needed to address the secondary in this next go round. But from a recruiting standpoint, like, we were done for 2026. Like, if you were to Google, like Coach Gundy was just amazed that there's a difference recruiting in the SEC than in other conferences. I mean, it's just from a day-to-day, attack the day mode. It's just different. And we were really done with our 26 recruiting class. And we had beaten some really good teams. We had beaten Ole Miss on a kid. We had beaten Arkansas on a kid that was a top kid in the state of Arkansas. We had signed in-state kids that really hadn't been done before. And all of those guys were coming to Oklahoma State to play because we had given them a vision for how we were going to win the Big 12, and they were going to compete and develop themselves. So, recruiting was going great from that standpoint. And really, obviously, when the change happened, all those guys decommitted and now they're gone and all of that. So that kind of tore it up. But we were on the path to really have the kind of team you needed to have to win a Big 12 championship defensively.
Coach, when were you made aware of the change?
Yeah, so basically when, Coach Gundy, he got fired on Tuesday of the Baylor game. Okay. We found out about an hour and a half to 2 hours before practice that the change was going to be being made. And hey, look, that's their prerogative. They can do anything they want to do. I get it. They can run their program how they see fit. So the biggest thing with that was addressing the players because, that's going to affect, it's an emotional sport and how they handle that. So we got through the Baylor game and once that game was over on Sunday, I got a text from the AD and it was, hey, come see me. So basically I went in and he was, very cordial. He said, look, he goes, you were hired by Coach Gundy to be the defensive coordinator. You guys had a great relationship. I get all that. He's no longer the head coach at Oklahoma State, so you're no longer the defensive coordinator. And that was really it, to be honest with you. And my first thought was I got to call my wife and let her know because it's going to hit the internet. And really, she's the strongest one out of everybody because she can handle it. She always does and gets us in the right spot and everything. And then I had to call my kids to let them know. And once I did that, my next focus was the staff because a lot of those guys had left like quality jobs to come because they knew the vision that we had and what we could do. And now they were going to be looking for a job. So I knew I had to address that with them. And then the last thing and most important thing was the players, because I had recruited, whether it was, hey, I need you to stay or I need you to come play for me. And this is how we're going to develop you. So my focus went to the players and how we were going to do that to make sure that they understand they were going to be fine. And, it's nothing like getting a text from a player like, hey, coach, I want to play for you. Let me know where you go. Or, hey, coach, I miss you. Those kind of texts are like invaluable, as you get into it. And at the end of the day, some of those guys have chosen to leave. And really it's because their vision was to play in our system and that wasn't allowed to them. So I think like of the top 22 guys we had, I think 50% of them went in the portal or chose the red shirt. And when you look at it from their perspective, hey, I'm getting developed for my career. Like they look at it nowadays as this is a step for me to develop myself for the National Football League, right, wrong, or indifferent. They look at it as this is how I can develop. So when I can tell a guy, look, man, I've coached the highest paid player in pro football 3 times. And I show him on tape, these are the things you do like him. These are the things you got to work on. You give them a vision and a purpose. And that's really how recruiting needs to be nowadays is it's not, you gotta channel what's important to the kids. And you got to show them this is your goal. This is how you got to get there. So you got to kind of handle it that way with the kids. So that's really been my focus is one, to handle my family, work with the staff, and then basically, make sure the players were okay and, help them moving forward.
Well, I got to ask you, I'm getting a ton of messages on our text line for you, her professional door text line. What's your thoughts on the Virginia Tech coaching situation?
Well, Virginia Tech's always a special place in my heart just because I grew up there. I remember going to overcross 460 with my dad. Sometimes it's my dad and my granddad to go watch the Hokies. I always thought going through the stadium, man, like when you got out there, the grass was always green. I was like, man, how does they get this grass always green? So obviously I grew up a Virginia Tech fan, went there, played there, loved the school. was fortunate enough to be a starter, on the first bowl victory. I know you had Kinzer on a few weeks ago, and the Peach Bowl victory. I was a starter on that team, and actually, I know a lot of people don't know this. I was the first player or person. I played in the first bowl victory ever in the Peach Bowl, and then I coached in the BCS Sugar Bowl game. That's the first person that's ever done that. So obviously that's a special place to me. And when you look at the situation, it reminds me a lot of Frank Beamer's 7th year, meaning like if you look through the history of Coach Beamer, and everybody talks about that era, and it was a great era, but he was afforded the time because of really the toughness or the comfort of the AD Dave Brain. Because after year 6 at Virginia Tech, Frank Beamer was 23-40. I mean, if you're 23-40 in year 6 right now in today's world, you're not getting year 7, and you're probably not getting year 4 or 5. To be honest with you, I mean, that's just the way we live. But it's a good lesson to understand. And it's like I remember the AD telling Coach Beamer, he's like, "You're the right guy for the job, but we have to get better people around you." I mean, that was his message, because really one person can't do it. Now, the head coach has to be in charge of the leadership, like I was telling you, discipline, accountability, and toughness. But his assistants are the ones that have to go out and implement that. They're the ones that have to do that. So for me, it reminds me a lot of year 7 during Coach Beamer's era. And obviously, Phil Almation was hired in year 7, and you just had him on the staff. And we went to the Independence Bowl. And then this is a good lesson for guys like I was a GA at that time. And, all I knew was work. And because of my work ethic, an opportunity came up, and I was hired on the staff in year 7. And for the next 3 years, we won 27 games. So I do understand the culture, and it is about discipline, accountability, and toughness, however you get to it. But at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing is when you look at the job right now is, and I understand that they've talked about the resource and all that. I think that's great, is just hiring a person and then making sure he has good people around him. I think that's the biggest thing. But when you start talking about the history of Virginia Tech, the most important thing is you recruit the state of Virginia. That is buff, and really it's more important now than ever, because you got to recruit the state of Virginia and within a 5-hour radius of the school. And the reason I say that is you're not going to be able to pay everybody. Like, yeah, there's an NIL era, okay? But if you recruit the state of Virginia, kids like myself that grew up coming to the game with their family, kids that grew up watching them on TV, they have a vested interest in the program. They're connected to it, because being a successful Division I player requires a lot of work. And you're going to have hard times. And during those times, you got to know this is where I want to be. And so really, it's going to get back to the recruiting of the state of Virginia and within a 5-hour radius of the school. And really, it's about developing players. I can give you the best example I can give you is like Georgia. Like Georgia right now is one of the top programs in the country. Okay. Well, their quarterback is a guy named Gunnar Stockton. Well, Gunnar's a junior. Okay. And if you look, Carson Beck was there. They had recruited some other guys there that ended up leaving because they weren't the starters. But Gunnar always stayed because he loved the University of Georgia. And he's now a junior. So that means he redshirted. He sat as a freshman. He sat as a sophomore. And now he's playing as a junior. And if you really look offensively, Georgia's really their offense has kept them in games. And it's really because of the play of their quarterback. But my point is that's the kind of kids you got to get in your program that want to be there because they have it in their heart to go to Virginia Tech. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to pay them down the road, but they're there for other reasons. And you can look at Georgia with Gunnar Stockton, but then they also had Stetson Bennett. I mean, Stetson Bennett won 2 national championships. And if you look at it, they actually told him to leave. He was there and he went to Jones County JUCO and he's like, I want to come back. And at the time they went out and got the 5-star JT Daniels. Okay. And then this kid beat him out. So I do think it's important that you recruit guys that want to be there. and you got to develop them. There's two ways to improve your roster, and this is what they got to do. Is the first way is you got to improve it from the bottom up. And what I'm talking about there is the high school kids that you're recruiting. Like, you have to have a vision for how is this guy going to be in the depth chart within 2 years. Now, I do think there's circumstances like quarterbacks or a kid's growing into the position, meaning offensive, defensive linemen, and you're going to grow those guys. But if you're going to grow those guys, develop them, they got to want to be there. So you've got to improve your roster from the bottom up with the high school players. And then the next way is you got to improve your roster from top down. Well, top down is obviously recruiting the elite player out of high school. But then the other way with that is getting in the portal. And then when you talk about getting in the portal, what you're doing when you get in the portal nowadays is you're filling a need or a gap that has come about through whatever reasons. So you got to fill a need or a gap. And then the other thing is you got to create competition on your roster. Look, there's nothing like competition for all of us. Everybody thrives when there's competition. If there's no competition, you can't grow. So it creates competition. And then the last thing is you got to get the game changers. You got to get guys that win the one-on-ones. It's funny. You can talk about playing zone all you want, but at some point during the down, the guy's going to throw the ball, and you're going to have to make a play on the ball with a receiver.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if you're in zone, you're in man, and you're going to have that on both sides of the ball. So that's really what you have to do from that standpoint. And I think that's the most important thing is hiring someone that is going to have the discipline, accountability, and toughness, giving him the resources to hire a support staff around him, not only in football, but in the recruiting world. When I went to Bama, the amount of people that worked in the recruiting office was unreal. And that needs to be just like a personnel department, meaning you have the GM, which can be the head coach. But, when people talk about the GM, there needs to be a vision from the head coach to the GM of this is the kind of players I want to attract.
Absolutely.
And the coordinators need to be a part of that. That's why these people fail in the NFL is they'll go and they'll look at a guy's height, weight, and speed. Well, the other component of that, what's the guy play like on tape? And then how does the guy fit within our system? And if you look at the teams that are successful, they have they're very connected at the top, meaning between head coach, GM, coordinators. These are the kind of people we want in our program. And this is how we're going to develop them. And this is how we're going to utilize them. So I think that's the biggest thing is having a vision, for the top, for how we're going to develop and turn this thing around.
Well, it's great insight, and we're going to have to do this again maybe whenever you're ready, maybe next week or something, man. I'd like to follow up so we can do this again, brother, and I appreciate you jumping on, and congrats on your career. I know it's going to continue, but congrats on everything you've accomplished so far, man, and it's incredible, and you don't realize it, but as a young sophomore who was fortunate enough to be chosen to travel with the varsity, what you taught me as a young player, you were already coaching before you even got out of high school. You were. I mean, it was just obvious that what you were going to do. So,
well, I appreciate it, man, and best of luck to you, and I look forward to being on again soon.
All right, brother. We'll talk again soon, man. Thank you for everything, Coach. All right, Todd. There you go. It's great stuff right there, man. Todd Grantham, Phil Amation, and you. Best listening audience here on YouTube. Great stuff. All right. One more time, I want to thank all of our sponsors. What a great show here today, man. How much fun was that? You just listen to that all day. So much knowledge about what's going on. Thanks to Professional Door Incorporated, Travis Williams, 391-078, sponsor of our text line, 38 years, best in the business, man. Go see them. Garage doors like nobody else, the best. Thanks to Larry Ramsey, National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of BDST. The attorney Ryan Pry down in Radford, 701 West Main Street. Our BDST fan question of the week, do you want? Shane Beamer is the next head coach in Blacksburg. Charles Lee, Little River Heating and Air. See them out everywhere. 540-553-2971. Better get your heaters checked, man. It's cold. Thanks a lot to Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment, the presenting sponsor of BDST here on YouTube. And thanks to Jonathan Sweet and Tim Miller and that entire crew. They are the best. Mark Hunley, McClellan Chiropractic, thank you. Our chat line blows up every day. Family Fencing Studios. Go see Jason and the gang. They will be putting up fences all winter. We're going to tell you more about that. 540-200-8294, familyfencingnrv.com. Go get your next vehicle at Harvey's GM. Go see Brad Harvey. Thanks to Lawson's Motor Home Supply, James Lawson, 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg. And go see and bowl and have fun at the NRV Super Bowl. Thanks you. Yeah, Paul says, told you need to take it to another hour. Yeah, we could have kept Todd on there. That's great. I tell you what, you're getting insight there from those two guys. Todd's taking you just from – he just lost his job at a Power 4. He's telling you exactly how the business works and how he envisions it. It's awesome. I hope you appreciate it because I sure as hell do. And I appreciate both of them coming on. That's just great stuff. A lot going on tomorrow. I'll try to see if I can grasp what all's coming on tomorrow, and then we'll get to it coming up. I know Mike Burnham will be here. We'll get you updated on everything. Thank you so much again for getting us to 600 subscribers. On to the next 100. Spread the word. Remind people that it's free. Thanks today to Jermaine Farrell, the guys from Citizens. Great stuff what they're doing in high school sports. And, of course, Phil Amashi and Todd Grantham. Enjoy your Monday, everybody. Hope we got you off to a good start. And we'll do more reviewing and more scuttlebutt and everything going on in the college football realm tomorrow on Tuesday. Take care, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.